You're here right now at this exact moment because something ancient inside you called out tonight.
And that's not coincidence. That's not random.
That's 300,000 years of human DNA recognizing exactly what it needs. You're drawn to stories of predators, of danger, of the wild things that once hunted us in the darkness. And yet you're seeking these stories precisely so you can sleep. Does that seem like a paradox? It isn't. It's the oldest wisdom in the human experience. Your body already knows what your conscious mind is just beginning to understand. For countless generations, our ancestors gathered around fires just like this, sharing stories of the creatures that moved through the shadows beyond the firelight. They didn't tell these stories to create fear. They told them to transform it, to make the unknown known, to turn chaos into understanding. And in that understanding, they found peace enough to close their eyes and rest. Tonight, you're continuing that same ancient ritual. You're sitting in the same psychological space that your ancestors occupied for 300,000 years. The specific details have changed. Your cave is different. Your fire is digital. But the human need? That hasn't changed at all. The need to assess the dangers, to understand the risks, to complete the mental checklist before surrendering to the vulnerability of sleep. That need is written into your nervous system at the deepest possible level. Let me take you back to a specific evening, roughly 40,000 years ago. The location doesn't matter as much as the moment. Imagine a cave entrance as the sun begins its descent toward the horizon. The opening faces west, so the last golden rays of sunlight are streaming across the rocky floor, creating long shadows that dance and shift. There's a fire burning near the entrance. Not a roaring blaze, but a steady, comfortable fire that's been carefully maintained throughout the day. The kind of fire that speaks of experience, of generations of knowledge about how to keep the coals glowing, how to add wood at just the right moment, how to create warmth without smoke. Around this fire, there are people, your ancestors.
And I don't mean that metaphorically.
I mean, these are the actual human beings whose genetic material combined and recombined over thousands of generations to eventually create you. Without their survival, you wouldn't exist. Every choice they made, every danger they avoided, every night they successfully lived through brought you one generation closer to being born. Most of the tribe is preparing for sleep. Children are already drowsing, wrapped in carefully prepared furs, their breathing becoming slow and steady. Adults are completing the final tasks of the day. But one person sits at the cave entrance keeping watch.
This is the first guardian.
The one who will stay alert while others rest. The one whose vigilance purchases sleep for the tribe. Can you hear the sounds of that evening? The fire crackling with a rhythm that matches your own heartbeat. The soft breathing of those already asleep. The occasional rustle of an animal moving through brush in the distance. The wind moving through the trees on the hillside above the cave. And underneath all of it, a profound silence that modern humans rarely experience. The silence of a world without machines, without electricity, without the constant hum of civilization. The guardian keeping watch isn't anxious. They're not filled with fear. They're calm, alert, present, because they understand something crucial. They understand the predators. They know which animals hunt at this hour and which don't. They know the territories, the patterns, the behaviors. This knowledge has been accumulated over countless lifetimes. It's been tested by experience, refined through trial and observation, passed down through story and teaching. And here's what that guardian knows that you need to know tonight. The predators aren't mindless killing machines. They're living beings with their own needs, their own territories, their own rules of engagement. Most encounters can be avoided entirely through awareness. Most potential conflicts can be prevented through respect. The predators aren't seeking humans as prey. They're following their own ancient patterns, patterns that humans learn to read and understand and work within. This is why you're drawn to these stories at night. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. It's seeking threat assessment before sleep. It's completing the security check. It's saying, let me understand the dangers before I become vulnerable. And once you understand them, once you know that awareness and respect have worked for 300,000 years, your nervous system can finally relax. Think about where you are right now in this moment. You're safe.
You're warm.
You're protected by walls and locks and the accumulated security of modern civilization. But your ancient brain doesn't fully trust that. It needs the old reassurances. It needs the ancient knowledge. It needs to hear the stories by the fire. So that's what we're doing here. We're giving your nervous system the completion it craves. The predators that watched our ancestors are still here. They still move through certain wild spaces.
They still follow their ancient patterns.
But here's the beautiful truth that will help you rest tonight. Those same predators watched humans for 300,000 years, and humans are still here. The relationship works. The ancient treaty holds. Awareness and respect create safety. Your ancestors learned to sleep despite living in a world of predators. They didn't eliminate the danger. They understood it. They respected it. They worked within natural patterns instead of against them. And because of that wisdom, you exist. You are the proof that the system works. You are the evidence that humans learn to find peace in a world of wild things. So as we begin this journey together through the stories of ancient predators that still walk the earth, remember this: we're not creating fear. We're transforming it. We're taking the shapeless anxiety that can keep you awake and giving it form, context, understanding. We're doing what humans have always done around the evening fire. We're making the unknown known. Feel your body beginning to recognize this ancient ritual. Feel your breathing starting to slow and deepen. Feel your muscles starting to release tension they've been holding all day.
This is right. This is natural.
This is what your body has been designed to do for countless generations. The fire is burning. The guardian is watching. The tribe is safe. And you tonight can rest in that same ancient security. The predators are out there. Yes, but they always have been. And yet here you are, the descendant of thousands of generations who learned to sleep peacefully despite that fact. Tonight, you'll learn their secrets. You'll understand their wisdom. You'll feel their protection surrounding you across the vast distance of time. Let yourself settle in. Let your body find its comfortable position. Let your breathing match the rhythm of the fire. We're about to walk back through time together to meet the guardians of ancient fear, the teachers of respect, the species that shaped humanity into what we became. And in meeting them, in understanding them, you'll find the same peace your ancestors found. You're exactly where you need to be. The ancient knowledge is waiting, and tonight it will carry you gently into sleep. Before we meet the specific predators that still share our world, you need to understand something profound about your own existence. You are alive right now in this moment because your genetic line survived 300,000 years of sleeping in a world of predators. Think about that for a moment. 300,000 years, roughly 15,000 generations. Every single one of your ancestors going back through that incomprehensible span of time successfully survived the night.
Every single one, that means something.
That means you carry their wisdom in your DNA. You carry their successful strategies, their learned behaviors, their intuitive understanding of danger and safety. You're not starting from zero tonight. You're starting with the accumulated knowledge of 15,000 generations of successful survivors. Your bloodline includes people who slept in caves while saber-toothed cats prowled outside, people who rested near water sources where crocodiles waited in the shallows, people who made camp in forests where bears and wolves followed ancient trails, people who lived on coastlines where sharks patrolled the waters, and every single one of them figured out how to rest despite those realities. They didn't do it through force. They didn't do it by eliminating all the predators. They did it through understanding, through observation, through respect, through learning the patterns and working within them instead of against them. That wisdom is available to you tonight. Let me take you to another evening in deep time. This time, we're on the East African savanna, roughly 150,000 years ago. The sun is setting in a spectacular display of orange and red and purple, painting the grasslands in colors that take your breath away. A small group of humans is settling in for the night on a rocky outcrop that provides some natural protection. They've chosen this spot carefully, with clear sight lines in all directions, with stone at their backs, with a small fire burning at the entrance to their sheltered space. The landscape around them is alive with animals. In the distance you can see herds of antelope grazing peacefully. Beyond them, a family of elephants moves slowly toward a water source. Giraffes browse on acacia trees, their long necks silhouetted against the darkening sky. This is a living, breathing ecosystem, and humans are just one species within it. But there are also predators in this landscape. Lions resting in the shade of a rocky outcrop several hundred meters away. Leopards that will begin hunting as darkness falls. Hyenas that are starting to become active as the day animals settle for the night. Crocodiles in the rivers.
Snakes in the grass.
This is a world where danger is real and constant. And yet, as darkness falls completely, and the stars begin to emerge in impossible numbers across the sky, the humans in this camp begin to sleep.
Not all at once.
They take turns keeping watch, just like the cave dwellers we visited in the last section. But they sleep, they rest. They allow themselves to become vulnerable because they understand something crucial. They understand that they are part of this ecosystem, not separate from it. They understand that the predators aren't hunting humans. The predators are hunting their natural prey. Humans have learned to recognize the signs that indicate when a predator is hunting versus when it's simply moving through territory. They've learned the distance that feels safe to a lion, the behaviors that trigger a chase response, the times of day when encounters are most likely. This knowledge came at a cost. Some ancestors didn't survive. Some made mistakes. Some encountered predators in circumstances that didn't allow for escape. But each of those tragedies taught the survivors something. Each loss added to the collective knowledge. Each danger successfully avoided became a story to pass down, a lesson to teach the next generation. And here's what that means for you tonight. Your instincts about nighttime aren't random. Your behaviors before bed aren't meaningless habits. When you check the locks on your doors, you're performing the ancient perimeter check. When you make sure windows are closed, you're securing your den. When you establish a bedtime routine, you're creating the same sense of ritual safety that your ancestors created around their evening fires. Your modern life has different specific dangers than your ancestors faced, but your brain is using the same ancient protocols to assess and manage risk. And when those protocols are completed, when the checklist is satisfied, your nervous system gives you permission to rest. That's not primitive.
That's not outdated.
That's sophisticated risk management that evolved over countless generations. The predators in that African savanna played a crucial role in making humans what we are today. They shaped our evolution in profound ways. They're why we're social creatures who sleep in groups, who keep watch for each other, who communicate warnings. They're why we developed pattern recognition skills that became the foundation for all human intelligence. They're why we learned to make tools and weapons and shelter. In a very real sense, the predators made us human. They were our teachers, though they didn't intend to be. Every successful escape from danger strengthened the traits that helped humans survive. Every generation that learned to read predator behavior better than the previous generation passed those enhanced skills forward. Over thousands of generations, this created humans who were remarkably good at avoiding becoming prey. And you are the result of that process. You are the product of the absolute best predator avoidance specialists in your lineage. The genes that made your ancestors good at assessing danger, at recognizing threats, at taking appropriate precautions, those genes are in you. When your intuition tells you something doesn't feel safe, that's 300,000 years of successful survival speaking. But here's what else you inherited. the ability to recognize when you are safe. Your ancestors couldn't afford to stay in constant high alert. That would have exhausted them. They needed to be able to accurately assess when the danger was low enough that rest was possible. They needed to trust their safety protocols. They needed to be able to relax when the conditions were right, and the conditions are right for you tonight. You're not on the African savannah. You're not in a cave with predators moving through the darkness outside. You're in a modern space with modern protections. Your ancient brain might not fully trust that automatically, but we're going to give it the context it needs. Every night that your ancestors successfully slept and woke safely, the next morning reinforced the knowledge of what works. Every generation that passed that knowledge forward added to the collective wisdom. And that wisdom says this: when you've completed your safety checks, when you've established your secure space, when you've connected with the ancient patterns through story and understanding, rest is not only possible but necessary. Sleep was never a luxury for your ancestors. It was a requirement for survival. A human who doesn't sleep properly can't think clearly, can't react quickly, can't make good decisions.
So your ancestors had to figure out how to sleep well even in the presence of real danger.
They had to develop the psychological tools to allow deep rest despite legitimate risks. Those psychological tools are still available to you. The ability to complete threat assessment and then release the vigilance. The ability to trust in your preparations. The ability to connect with the ancient knowledge that says humans know how to rest safely. That's not gone.
That's not lost.
That's in you right now, tonight, as you listen to these words. The predators shaped us, but they didn't break us. They made us stronger, smarter, more aware. They taught us to work together, to communicate, to plan ahead. They forced us to develop the very traits that eventually made humans the most successful large mammal on Earth. And one of those traits was the ability to rest deeply when conditions allowed. Tonight, conditions allow. The ancient predators are still out there in the world, yes. But they're in their territories, following their patterns, living their lives.
They're not seeking you.
They're not hunting humans. They're being exactly what they've always been, doing what they've always done. And humans learned long ago how to exist safely alongside them. Feel your body responding to this ancient truth. Feel your breathing slowing down. Feel your heart rate becoming calm and steady.
Feel your muscles releasing tension.
This is your nervous system recognizing safety. This is your body remembering 300,000 years of successful nights. This is ancient wisdom working through you right now. The eyes that watched from darkness taught our ancestors to be aware, not afraid, to be respectful, not terrified, to be prepared, not paralyzed. And those lessons created humans who could rest peacefully even when surrounded by wild things. You are one of those humans. That ability is yours by inheritance. As we prepare to meet the specific predators that still walk the earth, hold this knowledge close. Every single one of them has been sharing the planet with humans for thousands of generations. Every single relationship has been tested by time. Every ancient pattern still works. You are safe in that continuation. You are protected by that proven history. Let yourself sink a little deeper into relaxation. Let your eyes grow heavy. Let the ancient wisdom surround you like the warmth of that savanna fire. We're walking further into the story now, and each step takes you closer to the deep rest you're seeking. The ocean covers 70% of our planet's surface. For most of human history, it represented the ultimate boundary, the edge of the world that humans could explore. And in those vast waters, moving through the depths for over 400 million years, the sharks have patrolled. The great white shark, in particular, has become the symbol of ocean predation, the creature that represents primordial fear of the deep. But here's what the fear-based stories don't tell you. Great white sharks kill an average of 5 humans per year, globally. 5 out of 8 billion humans on Earth. Out of hundreds of millions of beach visits, swimming sessions and ocean activities every single year. 5 deaths. Meanwhile, humans kill approximately 100 million sharks every year. So who is actually the predator in this relationship? Let me take you to a coastal settlement about 30,000 years ago. Humans have just begun to master sea travel in simple boats. They're learning to harvest the ocean's resources. Fish, shellfish, seals. The sea provides abundance, but it also requires respect. The coastal people develop deep understanding of the ocean's rhythms, its moods, its creatures. They see sharks regularly. Great whites breach the surface while hunting seals. Smaller sharks patrol the shallow waters, and the humans learn by observing. They learn when sharks hunt most actively. They learn what behaviors attract shark attention. They learn how to read the water, to understand when conditions are safe for swimming and when they're not. This knowledge keeps them safe for generation after generation. Not perfectly safe, no. Occasionally there are encounters that go wrong, but remarkably safe considering how much time they spend in the water, how vulnerable humans are in the ocean environment. The sharks aren't seeking human prey. They're following their ancient patterns, hunting their natural food sources. Modern research confirms what those ancient coastal peoples intuited. Great white sharks are investigatory creatures. When they approach humans, they're usually investigating, not attacking. They're trying to determine what this strange object in the water might be. Unfortunately, their method of investigation can cause serious injury. But it's not predation. It's curiosity backed by millions of years of evolution as an apex predator. The coastal peoples learn to respect sharks as territorial beings. The ocean is the shark's domain. Humans are visitors there. And like all visitors, they need to follow the house rules. Don't swim during dawn and dusk when sharks hunt most actively. Don't swim near seal colonies. Don't splash erratically in ways that mimic injured fish. These simple rules, learned through observation and experience, create remarkable safety. Your own instincts about the ocean carry echoes of this ancient wisdom. When you look out at deep water and feel a primal unease, that's not irrational. That's your body recognizing that you're not built for that environment. When you instinctively avoid murky water or rough surf, that's ancient pattern recognition working to keep you safe. But here's what's equally important. That healthy respect for the ocean doesn't have to become paralyzing fear. The coastal peoples didn't stop using the ocean. They learned to work within its patterns. They developed skills and knowledge that allowed them to harvest its abundance while respecting its dangers. Fear, transformed through understanding, becomes respect. And respect allows for relationship. Tonight, as you rest, you can draw comfort from knowing that humans and sharks have coexisted for tens of thousands of years. The vast majority of encounters between humans and sharks end with both species going their separate ways unharmed. The ocean remains vast and wild, and sharks remain apex predators. But humans learned long ago how to share that space safely. The sound of waves on a beach is one of the most reliably calming sounds for human nervous systems. That's not coincidental. That's genetic memory of coastal living, of falling asleep to the sound of tides, of knowing that the rhythm of water meant safety and abundance for countless generations. Let that sound, real or imagined, begin to calm your breathing now. Sharks taught our ancestors respect for boundaries. The ocean is their territory first. Humans can visit, but they need to follow the rules that sharks have established over 400 million years of evolution. That lesson about respecting boundaries, about recognizing when you're in someone else's territory, that wisdom extends far beyond the ocean. In your own life, recognizing boundaries creates safety, knowing when to engage and when to maintain respectful distance, understanding that not every space is your space, not every territory is yours to claim. The sharks didn't teach this through intent, but humans learned it through observation. And that learning continues to serve us well. As your breathing slows to match the rhythm of waves, as your body relaxes into the gentle rocking motion that all humans remember from the womb, you can appreciate the sharks for what they are, ancient survivors who have found their perfect ecological role and maintained it for millions of years.
They're not evil.
They're not vindictive. They're not hunting humans. They're simply being sharks, exactly as they've always been, and humans learned to be humans alongside them. Learned to respect the water, learned to read the signs, learned to work within natural patterns. That relationship, built over countless generations, still holds true today. The ancient agreement remains: respect brings safety. Understanding creates coexistence. Let that ancient coastal wisdom wash over you now like gentle waves. Feel the salt air, real or remembered. Hear the rhythm of tides that has remained constant for all of human history. Know that the boundaries between human space and shark space are well established, well understood, and well maintained. Rest in that certainty. In the rivers and waterways of Africa, a creature older than mammals has watched the evolution of life itself. Crocodiles have remained essentially unchanged for 200 million years. They witnessed the rise and fall of dinosaurs. They survived the extinction event that ended the Cretaceous period. They watched as the first mammals emerged, as primates evolved, as humans took their first steps. And through all of that incomprehensible time, they perfected one strategy: patience. The Nile crocodile, in particular, has shared territory with humans throughout all of human evolution. Every early human living near African waterways learned to recognize the shape of a crocodile floating in muddy water. Every tribe developed protocols for approaching rivers safely. Every generation passed down the hard-earned knowledge of crocodile behavior. Let me take you to a riverbank at dawn, perhaps 100,000 years ago. A group of humans needs to cross the river to reach better hunting grounds on the other side. This is a daily challenge, a routine danger that requires careful management. They stand on the bank, scanning the water surface for the telltale signs. Two eyes and nostrils barely breaking the surface. The subtle wake that indicates movement, the ripples that suggest something large, disturbing the water. The humans wait. They watch. They discuss among themselves in their ancient language. They're not frozen by fear. They're practicing informed caution. They know that crocodiles are most active at certain times of day. They know that certain stretches of river are safer than others. They know that crossing as a group, making noise and splashing, typically discourages crocodile attacks. This is patience meeting patience. The crocodile strategy of waiting motionless for hours until prey comes within range meets the human strategy of careful observation before taking necessary risks. Both species have survived for so long because they've perfected their approaches. Both species respect the other's capabilities. The humans eventually cross safely, their knowledge and caution rewarded with another successful navigation of necessary danger. And that night, around their fire, they'll tell stories about crocodiles, not to create fear, but to pass knowledge, to teach the children what signs to watch for, to remind each other of the protocols that keep everyone safe. Here's what the crocodile teaches that becomes relevant to your rest tonight. The power of stillness. Crocodiles can remain motionless for hours, even days. They've mastered the art of being present without movement, of conserving energy until the moment requires action. This is the opposite of anxiety. Anxiety is constant motion without purpose. It's energy expenditure without direction. It's the mind racing, the body tense, the nervous system in sustained high alert. The crocodile offers a different model. Profound stillness punctuated by brief moments of explosive action. Rest as the default state. Movement only when necessary. Your ancestors who learned to read crocodile behavior also learned something about their own capability for stillness. When you're watching for a predator, you can't be fidgeting. You can't be making unnecessary noise. You have to be able to stay perfectly still, perfectly quiet, perfectly present. That skill, developed out of necessity, becomes a meditation practice. Tonight, let the crocodile teach you stillness. Not the frozen stillness of fear, but the powerful stillness of patient presence. Feel your body becoming still like water, settling after disturbance. Feel your thoughts slowing to the pace of a crocodile's breathing when it's resting. Feel your awareness becoming sharp but calm, present but relaxed. The crocodile has survived for 200 million years, not through constant struggle, but through perfectly timed action, punctuated by long periods of restful waiting. That's not a bad model for human life either. You don't need to be in constant motion. You don't need to be perpetually active. Rest is not weakness. Stillness is not wasting time. In fact, deep rest enables the moments when action becomes necessary. The humans who lived alongside crocodiles learned that water sources required careful protocols. They didn't stop using the rivers. They didn't abandon the lakes. They learned to work within the reality of crocodile presence. They approached water sources with awareness. They crossed rivers at optimal times. They taught their children to respect the water's edge, and generation after generation, this approach worked. Most encounters with crocodiles ended without incident because humans learned to read the signs, to respect the patterns, to work within natural rhythms. The relationship between humans and crocodiles became one of mutual awareness rather than constant conflict. In your modern life, you probably don't encounter crocodiles, but the lesson of patient presence still serves you. The ability to be still when stillness is appropriate. The ability to observe before acting. The ability to wait for the right moment rather than forcing premature action. These are ancient survival skills that translate perfectly to contemporary challenges. As your body continues to relax, as your breathing continues to slow, notice how stillness feels different from tension. Tension is holding energy that wants to move. Stillness is energy at rest, conserved, ready, but not activated. The crocodile knows this difference intuitively. Your body can learn to know it too. The muddy waters of ancient African rivers held many dangers, but they also held wisdom. The humans who learned to read those waters, to understand the creatures within them, to approach with proper respect and timing, those humans survived to become your ancestors. Their patience lives in you. Their skill at calculated risk lives in you. Their ability to remain calm while assessing danger lives in you. Let that ancient riverbank wisdom flow through you now. Let the patience of 200 million years of crocodile evolution teach your nervous system about the power of stillness. Let the successful coexistence of humans and crocodiles for hundreds of thousands of years reassure you that awareness and respect create safety. The crocodile taught humans that some territories require extra caution but not abandonment. That presence without aggression is possible. That sharing space with dangerous creatures is achievable through knowledge and respect. Those lessons served your ancestors well. They serve you well tonight as you prepare for rest. High in the mountain ranges of Central Asia, above the tree line where air becomes thin and cold bites deep, moves a predator so elusive that many people who live in its territory go their entire lives without seeing one. The snow leopard, the ghost cat, the spirit of the high peaks. Fewer than 7,000 remain in the wild, scattered across 12 countries, living in some of the most inhospitable terrain on Earth. Snow leopards attack humans so rarely that each incident becomes documented history. Perhaps 3 to 7 attacks per decade across their entire range. Given that millions of people live in snow leopard territory, that's remarkable restraint. These are powerful predators capable of taking down prey 3 times their size, living in regions where they regularly encounter human shepherds and their livestock. Yet they almost never choose humans as targets. Let me take you to the Himalayas perhaps 5,000 years ago.
A small group of humans has followed game into the high country.
They're hunting ibex and blue sheep on slopes so steep that every step requires attention. The air is thin enough that breathing becomes noticeable work. The cold is sharp enough that proper preparation means the difference between survival and death. They know snow leopards live in these mountains. They've seen the paw prints in snow. They've found the remains of kills. They've glimpsed the occasional flash of movement on a distant ridge. But they also know something crucial. Snow leopards avoid humans. Given any opportunity to escape human presence, the cats take it. They're solitary, shy, and perfectly adapted to a harsh environment where energy conservation is essential. The humans respect this. They move through snow leopard territory with awareness but not fear. They make their presence known through voice and movement, allowing any nearby cats to detect and avoid them. They don't corner cats or approach cubs. They follow protocols that have been refined over centuries of sharing these high places, and night after night, the humans sleep in these mountains. They make camps with fires. They post watches, but they rest. They allow themselves to be vulnerable enough for sleep because they understand the behavior patterns of the animals around them. Snow leopards hunt primarily at dawn and dusk. They avoid confrontation with humans. They have plenty of natural prey. The snow leopard teaches the lesson of solitude. Unlike the social predators we'll explore later, the snow leopard is completely comfortable alone. It patrols a territory of up to 40 square kilometers by itself. It hunts alone. It rests alone. And in that solitude, it finds not loneliness, but sufficiency. For humans who often feel overwhelmed by constant social demands, constant connection, constant availability to others, the snow leopard offers permission for necessary solitude. Being alone is not abandonment. Solitude is not failure. Sometimes the strongest position is the one you hold by yourself in the high, quiet places. Your ancestors who ventured into mountain territory learned to trust their own competence. When you're working at altitude in cold on dangerous terrain, you can't afford self-doubt. You need to trust your preparation, your skills, your judgment. The mountain environment doesn't tolerate hesitation or second-guessing. It requires decisive action based on careful assessment. That lesson serves you tonight as you prepare for rest. Self-doubt is exhausting. Questioning every decision drains energy that could be used for recovery. At some point, you need to trust that you've done enough, prepared enough, thought enough. You need to let yourself rest in the sufficiency of your efforts. The snow leopard high in the mountains doesn't wonder if it's doing enough. It doesn't question whether it deserves to rest. When the hunting is done, when the territory is patrolled, when the day's work is complete, the cat finds a sheltered spot and sleeps deeply, completely, without reservation.
That's not irresponsibility.
That's wisdom. The humans who learn to live in snow leopard territory also learn something about the beauty of harsh places. The mountains are demanding, but they offer a clarity that's impossible to find in easier environments. The cold strips away everything unnecessary. The altitude makes every breath conscious. The danger focuses attention completely on the present moment. In our modern world of constant distraction, constant stimulation, constant demands on attention, there's something deeply restful about that forced simplicity. The snow leopard's territory allows no multitasking. You're present or you're dead. You're focused or you're lost. And in that demanded presence, there's a kind of peace. Tonight, let the snow leopard teach you about the restfulness of high, clean spaces. Imagine breathing the thin, cold mountain air. Imagine the crystalline clarity of high altitude where you can see for hundreds of kilometers. Imagine the silence of snowy peaks where sound itself seems frozen. Let that clarity and cleanliness wash through your consciousness. The snow leopard survives in an environment that would kill most creatures within hours. It does this through perfect adaptation, through efficiency, through doing exactly what's necessary and nothing more. Every movement is calculated for energy conservation. Every action serves survival. There's no wasted effort, no unnecessary expenditure of resources. Your body knows how to do this too. When you allow yourself to truly rest, your body conserves energy. It repairs systems that need repair. It consolidates memories and processes experiences. It does exactly what's necessary and nothing more. The snow leopard in the high mountains and your body in deep sleep are following the same wisdom. Efficient recovery enables effective action. The ghost cat taught mountain peoples that some creatures deserve reverence precisely because they maintain distance. The snow leopard's elusiveness, its refusal to be fully known, creates a kind of respect that familiarity might destroy. There's wisdom in boundaries, in privacy, in the understanding that not everything needs to be fully revealed. As you continue to relax, as your breathing matches the slow rhythm of high-altitude rest, as your body finds the stillness of snow-covered peaks, Know that the snow leopard moves through its territory tonight, as it has for millions of years. Solitary, sufficient, perfectly adapted, and humans learned long ago to respect that sufficiency, to honor that solitude, to share the high places without conflict. The mountains hold their ancient peace. The ghost cats patrol their territories, and humans rest in the knowledge that awareness and respect create space for coexistence. Let that mountain wisdom settle over you now like freshly fallen snow, clean, cold, quiet, perfect. While the snow leopard claims the high, lonely places, its cousin the leopard has mastered something perhaps even more remarkable, living alongside humans in densely populated landscapes. Right now, tonight, there are leopards moving through territories that overlap with millions of human inhabitants. In parts of India, in sections of Africa, in scattered regions across Asia, leopards and humans share space in a way that most people never notice. This shouldn't work. Apex predators and dense human populations typically don't coexist peacefully. But leopards have adapted to human presence with remarkable sophistication. They've learned to avoid confrontation. They've adjusted their activity patterns to minimize encounters. They've found ways to hunt natural prey in human-modified landscapes. And most remarkably, they've done all of this while remaining largely invisible to the humans around them. Let me take you to a village in India, perhaps 2,000 years ago, but really the same pattern holds today. The village is surrounded by agricultural fields and patches of forest.
Livestock are kept in pens at night.
Children are called inside at dusk. And just beyond the edge of the village's lights, barely visible in the gathering darkness, a leopard moves through its territory. The villagers know the leopard is there. They've seen paw prints. They've heard the sawing call that leopards make during mating season. Occasionally, someone glimpses one crossing a field at twilight. But there's no panic, no hysteria, because the villagers also know that leopards almost never target humans. Given any chance to avoid confrontation, leopards take it. This peaceful coexistence isn't automatic. It's the result of thousands of years of learned behavior on both sides. The leopards have learned that attacking humans brings dangerous consequences. The humans have learned that respecting leopard territory and taking basic precautions prevents most conflicts. The key lesson from leopards is adaptability. When forests were cleared, leopards learned to use agricultural hedgerows and ravines as movement corridors. When natural prey became scarce, they adjusted their hunting to target invasive species like feral dogs. When human activity increased, they shifted to being more nocturnal. They didn't disappear. They adapted. For humans, this offers profound wisdom about resilience. Your ancestors faced constant change, climate shifts, resource availability fluctuations, population pressures, and they survived not by rigidly clinging to old ways, but by adapting to new circumstances while maintaining core survival strategies. The leopard embodies this same flexibility. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, consider what adaptations you've made to navigate your own changing landscape. Your life looks different than it did years ago. Your challenges have evolved. Your circumstances have shifted. And like the leopard, you've found ways to continue thriving. Maybe not perfectly.
Maybe not without difficulty.
But you're here. You've adapted. That's strength, not weakness. The villagers sleeping while leopards move through nearby territory aren't being reckless. They're trusting in a relationship that has been tested by thousands of generations. They've taken reasonable precautions, livestock secured, children inside, awareness maintained, and then they rest, knowing that the leopards are following their own patterns, pursuing their own prey, living their own lives. This is the art of calculated trust. Not naive trust that ignores real risks, not paranoid vigilance that exhausts itself, but informed trust based on accurate understanding of actual risk levels. The villagers know that a leopard attack on a human is extraordinarily unlikely. Not impossible, but rare enough that it doesn't warrant constant fear. Your modern life contains risks too. Some real, some exaggerated, some manufactured by media that profits from fear. The leopard's lesson is to assess risk accurately and then respond proportionally.
Most of what you worry about will never happen.
Most of the dangers you imagine are far less likely than you believe. Like the villagers living alongside leopards, you can take reasonable precautions and then release the worry. The leopard teaches flexibility in multiple dimensions. Physical flexibility as they climb trees to avoid larger predators or to cache kills. Behavioral flexibility as they adjust activity patterns. Dietary flexibility as they hunt a wider range of prey than almost any other large carnivore. This adaptability has made them one of the most successful big cats, with the widest distribution. Your nervous system needs flexibility too. The ability to be alert when alertness serves you and relaxed when threat is low. The ability to shift between different states as circumstances require. Anxiety is often the result of being stuck in high alert when the situation doesn't warrant it. The leopard never makes that mistake. When danger passes, the leopard relaxes completely. Watch a leopard resting in a tree during the heat of the day. Complete relaxation. Total surrender to rest. The same animal that can explode into action in split seconds is utterly calm when action isn't needed. That's efficient nervous system regulation. That's the model your body was designed to follow. The humans who live alongside leopards have learned something else crucial: the importance of community awareness. When someone sees a leopard near the village, they share that information. When livestock goes missing, neighbors discuss it. This collective vigilance means no individual has to maintain constant personal hypervigilance. The community watches out for the community. You're part of communities too, even if they look different from ancient villages. You're connected to others who share information, who watch out for each other, who collectively maintain awareness.
You don't have to do it all yourself.
You can rest in the knowledge that you're part of something larger than just your individual vigilance as your breathing continues to slow and deepen, as your body continues to relax into this ancient pattern of evening rest. Feel the leopard's adaptability informing your own capacity for flexibility. You've navigated changes before. You've adapted to new circumstances before. You've found ways to thrive in shifting landscapes before.
And you'll do it again tomorrow. But tonight?
Tonight you rest. Tonight you follow the leopard's wisdom of complete relaxation when relaxation is appropriate. Tonight you trust in the adaptations you've already made, the flexibility you've already demonstrated, the resilience you've already proven. The leopard moving through village territory doesn't doubt its ability to navigate that landscape. And you don't need to doubt yours. The ancient relationship between humans and leopards continues tonight as it has for countless generations.
Mutual awareness.
Mutual respect.
Mutual adaptation.
And in that evolved relationship, space exists for both species to thrive. Let that peaceful coexistence inform your own rest. You've adapted enough. You've navigated enough. For tonight, you can simply be. We move now from the solitary hunters to the social ones, and we begin with the most iconic, the lion. For humans throughout history, lions have represented something beyond simple predation. They've symbolized royalty, courage, strength, and particularly the power of social bonds. Because what makes lions successful isn't just their individual prowess, but their ability to work as a coordinated family unit. A lion pride is essentially an extended family. Multiple generations of related females, their cubs, and a coalition of males who protect the territory. This social structure mirrors human family groups in ways that our ancestors recognized immediately. The cooperation, the shared responsibility for young, the division of labor, the collective defense of territory. Lions showed humans a reflection of their own social survival strategy. Let me take you to the African savanna at dusk, perhaps 60,000 years ago. A human tribe has made camp on a rocky outcrop with good visibility in all directions. Below them, moving through the golden grass, they can see a pride of lions settling for the evening. The lions have made a kill earlier in the day and are resting now, digesting, some grooming each other, cubs playing in the fading light. The humans watch the lions with complex emotions. There's wariness, certainly. Lions are dangerous.
An adult lion can kill a human easily.
But there's also recognition. The humans see in the pride structure something familiar. The way the females work together to hunt. The way they share food with the cubs. The way they collectively defend against threats. This is the human pattern reflected back. Over countless generations, the humans in lion territory learned the patterns. Lions hunt primarily at night and in early morning. They're most dangerous when hungry. They respect human fire and loud noises. They typically avoid confrontation with groups of humans. A lone human is vulnerable, but a group moving together, making noise, showing confidence, is usually left alone. This knowledge created a treaty of sorts. The humans didn't try to eliminate the lions. The lions didn't specifically target humans. Both species occupied the same landscape, sometimes even sharing water sources, because both species learned to read the other's signals. When a lion pride had just eaten, they were far less dangerous. When they were actively hunting, humans kept distance. Communication through observation. The social structure of the pride taught humans something profound about the safety that comes from belonging. A solitary lion is vulnerable in ways that a pride member isn't. Hyenas, which will avoid a pride, will attack a lone lion. The pride structure distributes risk, shares resources, provides support during injury or illness. The same is true for humans. Your ancestors survived not as isolated individuals, but as members of social groups. The tribe watched out for each other. They shared information about threats. They took turns keeping watch at night, so others could sleep. They cared for the sick and the young collectively. This wasn't just niceness. This was survival strategy that evolution selected for over millions of years. Tonight, even if you're physically alone, you're not truly alone. You're part of social networks. You're connected to family, friends, community. You're part of the vast human tribe that extends across the planet. And that tribe, like a lion pride, provides a form of protection. You don't have to maintain constant vigilance by yourself. You're part of something larger. The lion's roar, which can be heard up to 8 kilometers away, serves multiple purposes. It announces territory. It coordinates pride members. It warns intruders. But it also bonds the pride together. When lions roar in chorus, they're affirming their unity, their collective strength. There's something deeply reassuring about hearing your people's voices raised together. You've experienced versions of this. Maybe in group singing or chanting.
Maybe in collective laughter.
Maybe in the roar of a crowd supporting a shared cause. That feeling of being part of something larger than yourself, that feeling of collective power that's ancient. That's the feeling that helped your ancestors feel safe enough to sleep even in dangerous territory. The humans watching the lion pride from their rocky outcrop felt safer because they were together. The lions in the pride felt safer because they were together. Both species independently evolved the same solution to the same problem. Safety comes from social bonds, and those bonds need to be maintained through regular interaction, through shared experiences, through collective responses to challenge. In modern human life, isolation is a significant stressor. Your nervous system doesn't fully believe you're safe when you're completely cut off from your social network. It creates low-level anxiety that prevents deep rest. But even minimal social connection, even just knowing that others are nearby and accessible, can significantly reduce that anxiety. As you prepare for sleep tonight, feel your connection to others. Maybe someone in your household sleeping nearby. Maybe friends you could call if you needed help. Maybe the vast network of humans all over the world who are also settling in for rest at this same moment. You're part of the pride, even if the pride is now billions strong. The lions taught early humans about the power of territory. The pride doesn't wander randomly. They have defined territory that they know intimately.
Every water source, every good ambush point,
every den site. This deep knowledge of their space creates confidence. They're not navigating uncertain terrain. They're moving through familiar ground. Your own space, wherever you're resting tonight, is your territory. You know it intimately. You know its sounds, its smells, its rhythms. That familiarity creates safety. Your brain doesn't have to constantly assess new stimuli. It can relax into the known patterns of your own den. This is why sleeping in unfamiliar places is harder. Your nervous system can't fully relax because it doesn't know what's normal for that space. But in your own territory, you can rest like a lion in the center of Pride lands, confident, secure, protected by familiarity and preparation. The humans on their rocky outcrop returned to the same site repeatedly because they knew it well. They knew where danger could approach from and where it couldn't. That knowledge purchased rest. Lion attacks on humans, while they do occur, are remarkably rare given how much territory humans and lions share. Roughly 200 people per year across all of Africa out of millions living in lion territory. And many of those attacks are preventable through adherence to basic protocols that communities have known for thousands of years. Don't go out alone at night. Don't approach lions. Make noise when moving through dangerous territory. Stay with your group. These protocols still work because lion behavior hasn't fundamentally changed. The ancient agreements still hold. And this should comfort you. The relationships that your ancestors established with the predators around them were real and lasting. The knowledge they accumulated actually works. Respect and awareness really do create safety. The pride settling for the evening, cubs playing, adults grooming each other, represents something beyond simple predation. It represents family, cooperation, shared responsibility, the same values that allowed humans to survive and thrive. The lions weren't just threats to your ancestors. They were teachers. They were mirrors showing humans the power of social bonds. As your body continues its evening relaxation, as your breathing matches the rhythm of a sleeping pride, as your heartbeat slows to the pace of peaceful rest, feel the protective presence of social connection.
You're part of the pride.
The pride is vigilant even when individual members rest. You can surrender to sleep because others are watching, because the social structure holds.
Because you're not alone in this. The lions taught this.
The humans learned it, and you carry that wisdom tonight into your own safe rest. From the social bonds of lions, we move to the ultimate solitary hunter, the tiger. If lions represent community strength, tigers represent individual power. A tiger requires no backup, no pride, no cooperation. A single tiger patrols and controls territory of up to 100 square kilometers through sheer personal capability. This is confidence at its most absolute. The tiger is the largest cat species on Earth. A male Siberian tiger can weigh over 300 kilograms of pure muscle, power, and predatory perfection. Yet despite this tremendous physical capability, despite living in relatively close proximity to human settlements across Asia, tigers kill an average of 40 to 50 humans per year worldwide. Compare that to the hundreds of millions of people living in tiger territory, and you see remarkable restraint. Let me take you to the forests of ancient Bengal, perhaps 3,000 years ago. The forest is dense, humid, alive with the sounds of insects and birds and monkeys chattering in the canopy. A human hunting party moves through this forest, tracking deer. They move carefully, aware that this is tiger territory. They've seen paw prints in the mud near the river. They've heard the distinctive Pruston call that tigers use to communicate with each other, but they're not paralyzed by fear. They're practicing informed caution. They stay together as a group. They make enough noise that any tiger nearby will hear them coming and choose to avoid them. They watch for signs of recent tiger activity, and they carry weapons not primarily for offense but as deterrence. A tiger that knows humans are armed and grouped is a tiger that typically chooses to move away rather than engage. The hunting party has learned something crucial. Tigers are ambush predators. They rely on stealth and surprise. When humans are alert, vocal, and grouped, the element of surprise is gone. And without that surprise, tigers almost always choose avoidance over confrontation. It's not worth the risk to them. They have plenty of natural prey that doesn't require confronting dangerous, unpredictable humans. This understanding creates a kind of mutual respect. The humans respect the tiger's territory and capabilities. They don't unnecessarily provoke. They don't corner tigers or approach cubs. They follow protocols that signal non-aggression. And in response, the tiger largely leaves them alone. Both species benefit from this détente. The tiger teaches the lesson of self-reliance. Unlike lions, which depend on pride structure, a tiger depends solely on its own skills. It must be capable of hunting alone, defending territory alone, surviving alone. This creates a different kind of strength. The strength that comes from knowing you can depend on yourself completely. For humans, who are inherently social creatures, there's still wisdom in this lesson. Yes, we need others. Yes, community is essential. But there's also deep value in developing personal competence, in knowing that you can handle challenges independently when necessary, in trusting your own judgment, in being self-sufficient while still maintaining social connections. The tiger moving through the forest doesn't doubt itself. It doesn't second-guess its hunting strategies. It doesn't worry about whether it's capable enough. It simply acts with complete confidence in abilities honed through experience. That kind of self-assurance, earned through genuine competence, is profoundly calming. Your ancestors who learned to move through tiger territory developed a similar confidence. They learned to trust their observation skills, their group coordination, their understanding of animal behavior. That confidence was earned through experience, through surviving previous encounters, through accumulating knowledge that proved itself useful. And that earned confidence allowed them to rest at night, even in the heart of tiger country. Tonight, you can acknowledge your own competence. You've survived every challenge you've faced up to this moment. You've learned from experiences. You've developed skills. You've proven your capability to navigate difficulty. That's not arrogance. That's earned self-trust. And that self-trust is what allows deep rest. The people of the Sundarbans, where tigers still move through mangrove forests alongside human honey collectors and fishermen, have maintained protocols for thousands of years. They wear masks on the backs of their heads because tigers prefer to attack from behind, and the mask creates confusion about which direction the human is facing. They travel in groups. They make specific sounds as they move. They perform protective rituals before entering the forest. These protocols work. They're not superstition. They're accumulated practical wisdom about managing risk in tiger territory. And the fact that these communities have survived and even thrived while sharing space with tigers for countless generations proves the protocol's effectiveness. Respect and awareness create coexistence. The tiger's stripes serve as camouflage in tall grass and bamboo, breaking up the outline of its body, making it difficult to spot even at relatively close range. This reminds us that many threats in our own environment are also camouflaged. They're not always obvious. They blend into the background. Which means awareness needs to be practiced as a regular skill, not just activated in moments of obvious danger. But here's the balance. Awareness doesn't mean constant hypervigilance. The humans moving through tiger territory weren't constantly terrified. They were calmly vigilant. They were present and observant without being anxious. That's the skill worth developing. Present awareness combined with calm confidence. As you rest tonight, you can cultivate this same state.
Aware of your body, aware of your breathing,
Aware of your environment, but calm, confident, not on high alert. Simply present. The tiger in the forest, when it's not hunting, rests completely. It conserves energy. It relaxes totally. And when the time comes for action, it can explode into movement. But between those moments,
complete rest. Your body knows how to do this too.
modern life often tricks you into sustained low-level stress that prevents both full engagement and full rest. You're neither hunting nor sleeping. You're in some exhausting middle state. The tiger never makes that mistake. Full rest or full action. Nothing in between. Tonight is for full rest.
You're not hunting. You're not defending territory. You're not managing threats.
Tonight is for the deep relaxation that allows tomorrow's action. The tiger understands this perfectly, And your body, given permission, understands it too. The forest around that ancient hunting party grows dark. The sounds change as day animals settle and night animals emerge. The humans return to their village and gather around fires. They tell stories of the forest, of the tigers, of the successful hunt. And as the fire burns down to coals, they sleep. Some keeping watch, but most resting deeply. They can rest because they trust their protocols. They can relax because their awareness and respect have proven effective for generation after generation. They can surrender to sleep because the relationship with the forest and its tigers is understood and managed. You have your own protocols, your own preparations, your own versions of awareness and respect that keep you safe. Trust them tonight. Trust the accumulated wisdom of your own experience. Trust your capability to manage whatever tomorrow brings. But for now, follow the tiger's wisdom. When it's time to rest, rest completely. The forest holds its ancient patterns. The tiger patrols its territory. The humans sleep in their village. And the agreements forged over thousands of years continue to hold. Let that continuity comfort you. Let that proven effectiveness reassure you. Let the tiger's confidence in solitary strength remind you of your own competence. Rest now in earned self-trust.
Rest in the knowledge that you're capable.
Rest in the understanding that tomorrow's challenges will be met with tomorrow's energy. Tonight is for the deep, complete rest that the tiger practices between hunts.
Nothing to prove.
Nothing to defend. Just the profound relaxation of a capable being conserving energy for when it will be needed. We journey now to the harshest environment humans have ever inhabited, the Arctic, where cold isn't just uncomfortable, but actively deadly within hours, where darkness lasts for months, where every resource must be carefully conserved because there are no second chances in the ice. And here, in this most unforgiving place, lives the largest terrestrial predator on Earth, the polar bear. An adult male polar bear can weigh 800 kilograms. It can smell a seal from 30 kilometers away. It can swim for days without rest. It is so perfectly adapted to its environment that it's essentially invisible against the snow and ice. And yet, despite being one of the few large predators that will actively hunt humans when hungry, despite living alongside Arctic peoples for thousands of years, polar bears kill an average of only 5 to 10 humans per year worldwide. This remarkably low number speaks to something profound. Even in the most extreme circumstances, with the most capable predators, humans learn to survive. The Inuit, Yupik, Chukchi, and other Arctic peoples developed sophisticated protocols for living in polar bear territory. These protocols have been tested by roughly 4,000 years of continuous occupation of the Arctic. Let me take you to an Arctic winter night, perhaps 2,000 years ago. The sun hasn't risen above the horizon in weeks. The temperature is minus 40 degrees. The wind creates drifts of snow that reshape the landscape daily. A small group of humans lives in a carefully constructed dwelling, insulated with animal skins, warmed by blubber lamps that provide both heat and light. Outside, in the darkness, polar bears are active. They're hunting seals at breathing holes in the ice. They're patrolling territories that span hundreds of kilometers. They're doing what polar bears have done for hundreds of thousands of years, surviving in an environment that kills most other life. The humans inside know the bears are out there. They've built their dwelling with this knowledge. They've chosen a location that provides good visibility. They keep weapons ready. They store food in ways that minimize scent attraction. They follow protocols that their ancestors developed through hard experience. But they also sleep. In the darkest part of the longest night, in some of the harshest conditions on Earth, with apex predators moving through the darkness outside, they sleep. Because they've learned something essential. Proper preparation enables rest even in extreme circumstances. The polar bear teaches the most fundamental survival lesson, adaptation to extremes. Everything about a polar bear is optimized for one of the most demanding environments on Earth. Its white fur provides camouflage. Its black skin absorbs what little solar radiation is available. Its fat layer provides insulation and energy storage. Its massive pores distribute weight for walking on thin ice. Every aspect of its biology serves survival in conditions that would kill most mammals within hours. Your ancestors who moved into the Arctic had to develop similar total adaptation. They couldn't afford half measures. They couldn't be somewhat prepared. They had to understand the environment completely, respect it absolutely, and adapt to it thoroughly.
Anything less meant death.
And yet they succeeded. They not only survived but developed rich cultures, sophisticated technologies, and deep spiritual traditions in the most challenging environment humans have ever inhabited. This teaches something crucial about your own capacity for adaptation. When circumstances demand it, when survival requires it, humans can adapt to almost anything. You've faced your own harsh seasons. Times when resources were scarce, when support was limited, when the environment felt hostile.
And yet you're here.
You adapted. You found ways to survive and even thrive. That capacity doesn't disappear during easier times. It remains ready when needed. The Arctic peoples developed a profound respect relationship with polar bears. They recognized bears as fellow apex predators, as beings worthy of reverence. They developed elaborate protocols for encounters.
They never left food unattended.
They traveled in groups when possible. They carried weapons designed specifically for polar bear defense. They taught children from the earliest age how to recognize bear signs and how to respond appropriately. And critically, they recognized that polar bears, despite their capability to kill humans easily, usually chose not to. Most encounters between Arctic peoples and polar bears ended with the bear moving away. The bear didn't want conflict. It wanted seals, its natural prey. Humans were dangerous unknowns, best avoided when easier food sources existed. But the Arctic is harsh enough that sometimes bears become desperate enough to take risks they'd normally avoid. Sometimes hunger overrides caution. And in those moments, the protocols that Arctic peoples developed became life or death important. The weapons carried, the vigilance maintained, the group cohesion preserved. All of it served survival. Tonight you're probably not facing polar bear levels of danger. Your environment, while it has challenges, isn't trying to kill you with cold and darkness and apex predators. But your nervous system doesn't always recognize that difference. Sometimes it responds to modern stressors as if they're survival threats on par with polar bears in Arctic darkness. The wisdom of the Arctic peoples offers perspective. They could accurately assess actual danger levels. They knew when vigilance was essential and when it could be relaxed. They didn't waste energy on constant maximum alertness. They calibrated their response to actual conditions. You can practice this same calibration. Not all stressors are polar bears. Not all challenges require maximum alertness. Some situations allow for relaxation even though your nervous system might be suggesting otherwise. Developing the skill to accurately assess actual danger levels versus perceived danger levels is one of the most valuable tools for managing modern anxiety. The polar bear in winter practices something remarkable. Matanoldens. A pregnant female will dig a den in a snowbank and hibernate through the darkest, coldest part of winter. She'll give birth to cubs in that den. She won't eat for 4 to 5 months. She'll survive purely on stored fat while nursing cubs. And when spring comes, she'll emerge with her offspring, ready to hunt again. This is ultimate resource conservation. The bear knows that winter hunting is difficult and energy expensive. So instead of struggling through the harsh season, she creates a protected space and rests completely. She trusts her preparation. She trusts her fat reserves. She trusts that spring will come, and that trust allows profound rest. Even in the middle of the most challenging season, your own life has seasons. Times of abundance and times of scarcity. Times of easy progress and times when everything feels difficult. The polar bear's wisdom is to recognize which season you're in and respond appropriately. Sometimes the right response is intense effort. Sometimes the right response is conservation and rest. Tonight is for rest, for conservation, for trusting that you've stored enough resources to make it through this period of vulnerability
Sleep is your den in the snowbank.
Sleep is your hibernation through the dark season. Sleep is your body trusting its own preparation enough to completely rest. The Arctic peoples sleeping in their winter dwellings were practicing similar trust. They'd prepared properly. They'd stored food. They'd built insulated shelter. They'd developed skills and knowledge. And based on that preparation, they could rest. Not careless rest,
Not naive rest.
but earned rest based on adequate preparation. You've prepared too. Maybe not for Arctic survival, but for your own circumstances. You've developed skills. You've accumulated resources. You've built your version of shelter. That preparation purchases rest. That preparation allows you to stop vigilance for the night and trust that your preparations will hold. As your breathing continues to deepen and slow,
As your body continues to release the day's tensions,
imagine the profound stillness of Arctic winter, the absolute silence of a world locked in ice, the darkness that's so complete it becomes almost tangible, and within that darkness and cold, the warmth of proper shelter, the safety of adequate preparation, the rest that comes from trusting your own competence. The polar bear taught Arctic peoples that even the harshest environment can be navigated successfully through proper adaptation. Even the most capable predator can be coexisted with through adequate respect and preparation. Even the darkest season eventually gives way to spring. But during that dark season, during that harsh winter, the wise response is to conserve energy, to rest deeply, to trust your preparations, to surrender to the hibernation that allows you to emerge strong when conditions improve. Climate change is altering the ancient agreements between polar bears and their environment.
ice melts earlier. Hunting seasons shorten.
Bears come into human settlements more frequently because their natural territories are shrinking. This creates new challenges for both species, but it also demonstrates something important. Even ancient successful patterns must sometimes adapt to changing circumstances. You face changing circumstances too. The world you're navigating isn't the same one your parents navigated. The challenges you face aren't identical to previous generations' challenges, and that's okay. The core lesson remains: adaptation is possible. Successful navigation of new circumstances is achievable. You've proven this already by making it to this moment. The 5 to 10 people per year killed by polar bears, tragic as each death is, represents remarkable success given how many Arctic communities share territory with bears, how many encounters occur, how capable bears are as predators. The ancient protocols still work. The respect-based relationship still functions. And when tragic exceptions occur, they often involve protocol violations. Someone alone when they should be grouped. Someone unarmed when they should carry defense. Someone unaware when they should be vigilant. This isn't victim blaming. It's acknowledging that protocols exist because they work. Your own protocols for managing modern life, for maintaining mental health, for ensuring physical safety, they exist because they work too. Following them doesn't guarantee perfect outcomes, but it significantly improves odds. And that's all survival ever was, improving odds. Managing probabilities, making success more likely than failure. Tonight, as the Arctic peoples slept in their winter dwellings, as polar bears moved across the ice-hunting seals, as the long darkness held the far north in its grip, the ancient patterns continued, both species following their established behaviors, both species respecting the other's capabilities, both species surviving in an environment that seemed impossible. You're surviving in your environment too. It has different challenges than the Arctic, but it has real demands nonetheless. And like Arctic peoples before you, you've developed your protocols, your strategies, your ways of managing what your world requires. Trust those tonight. Trust your preparation. Trust your adaptation. And rest in that trust the way polar bears rest in their dens. The way Arctic peoples rest in their insulated dwellings. The way all successful survivors rest when conditions allow, deeply, completely, and without reservation. We return now from the frozen Arctic to the warm rivers of Africa, to meet a creature that defies expectations in every way. The hippopotamus doesn't look like a predator. It appears slow, even comical, with its barrel-shaped body and enormous girth. It's a herbivore that eats grass, not meat. And yet the hippopotamus is responsible for more human deaths in Africa than any other large mammal. Roughly 500 deaths per year, far exceeding lions, crocodiles, or any of the creatures we typically fear. This unexpected danger teaches perhaps the most important lesson in all of predator awareness. The most dangerous creatures are often not the ones you expect. The biggest threats are frequently the ones you underestimate. Respect must be based on actual risk assessment, not on appearance or assumption. Let me take you to a river in East Africa perhaps 50,000 years ago. The morning sun is warming the muddy banks. The water is murky brown, hiding what moves beneath the surface. A group of humans needs to cross this river to reach fishing grounds on the other side. But first, they must assess the risk. They stand on the bank, watching carefully. Are there hippos visible in the water? Are there trails leading from the water to grazing areas, indicating high hippo activity? Is this a section of river where hippos establish territories? The humans have learned through bitter experience that hippo-occupied rivers require extreme caution. Hippos are territorial in water. The males establish and defend river sections aggressively. Anything entering that territory, whether another hippo, a crocodile, or a human in a boat, may be attacked. And when a 3-ton animal moving at 30 kilometers per hour decides to attack, the results are devastating. Those enormous jaws can bite a crocodile in half. Those massive teeth, which can grow to 50 centimeters long, can crush a human instantly. But here's what makes hippos particularly dangerous. They're unpredictable. A lion's behavior follows patterns. You can read intention in a lion's posture, movements, vocalizations. Hippos are far more difficult to read. They can go from appearing calm to explosively violent in seconds with minimal warning. This unpredictability means that caution must be constant and extreme. The humans on the riverbank learned these lessons over countless generations. Some ancestors didn't survive their encounters with hippos. Those tragedies taught the survivors to never, ever become casual around hippos, to treat every sighting as potentially lethal, to give hippos far more space than seems necessary, to assume that a calm hippo might become an attacking hippo without warning. This is wisdom that extends far beyond hippos. In your own life, the biggest dangers are often the ones you stop taking seriously. The familiar risks that you've handled successfully before, so you assume they're not really dangerous. The everyday activities that usually go fine until suddenly they don't. The situations that seem safe because you've never experienced them going wrong. Complacency kills, not through malice but through the simple mathematics of probability. If you take a small risk repeatedly, eventually the unlikely outcome occurs. The hippo that's been calm every other time you've passed suddenly charges. The intersection you've crossed hundreds of times safely is where the accident happens. The familiar situation that's always been fine is when things go catastrophically wrong. The humans who survived in hippo territory never became complacent. They checked every time. They maintained vigilance every time. They followed protocols every time, because they understood that the consequence of a single failure was death. This might seem exhausting, but it's actually how habits work. When protocols become automatic, when checking becomes routine, it doesn't require constant conscious effort. It becomes simply what you do. Your modern life has situations that deserve this same consistent respect. Maybe it's checking your mirrors before changing lanes. Every single time, no exceptions. Maybe it's securing certain equipment before operating it, no matter how rushed you are. Maybe it's following specific safety protocols at work, even when you're experienced and tempted to cut corners. The hippo's lesson is, consistent vigilance regarding real risks is never wasted effort. The fishing communities along African rivers developed elaborate protocols for hippo coexistence. They learned which river sections to avoid entirely. They learned what times of day hippos were most likely to be in the water versus grazing on land. They developed boat designs that could move quickly and maneuver effectively. They taught children from the youngest age that hippos were to be feared and respected above almost any other animal. And these protocols worked. Most people who lived near hippos their entire lives never had a dangerous encounter. But that success came from consistent application of safety rules, from never becoming casual, from maintaining appropriate fear and respect across entire lifetimes. The 500 deaths per year in a continent where millions of people interact with hippo territory represent both the danger of hippos and the effectiveness of learned protocols. Tonight, as you prepare for rest, the hippo offers you permission to maintain healthy boundaries. Not all threats announce themselves dramatically. Not all dangers look dangerous. Sometimes the biggest risks come from unexpected sources, and the appropriate response is consistent, unwavering respect for known risks. This creates a paradox that's important to understand, maintaining vigilance about real risks while simultaneously being able to rest. How do you hold both? How do you stay appropriately cautious while also achieving deep relaxation? The answer is in proper risk assessment and protocol completion. The fishing communities could rest at night because they weren't sleeping in the river. They'd removed themselves from hippo territory. They'd completed their safety protocols. They'd done what needed to be done to eliminate unnecessary risk. And having done that, they could rest. You can apply this same approach. Identify your real risks. Not imagined dangers, not media-amplified fears, but actual risks in your actual life. Then implement appropriate protocols. Complete the necessary safety measures. And having done that, release the worry. You've addressed the addressable risks. You've done what can be done. Now you can rest. The hippo's massive bulk requires enormous food intake. They can eat 40 kilograms of grass per night. This means they spend most of their nighttime hours grazing on land, following established trails between water and grazing areas. During the day, they rest in the water to avoid overheating, to protect their skin from sun damage, to conserve energy in the buoyant water. This rhythm teaches something about the natural cycle of activity and rest. The hippo doesn't try to be active constantly. It has times for feeding and times for resting. It follows a rhythm that serves its survival needs. Modern humans often try to override these natural rhythms, staying active when rest would serve better, or trying to rest when the body and mind aren't ready for it. Your body has rhythms too. Times when energy is naturally higher and times when it naturally wanes. Times when mental clarity peaks and times when the brain needs to process and consolidate. Fighting against these rhythms is exhausting and largely futile. Working with them is efficient and sustainable. Tonight, your body is telling you it's time for rest. Your nervous system is ready for the restoration that sleep provides. Your mind needs the consolidation period that happens during sleep. This isn't weakness.
This isn't wasting time.
This is following the natural rhythm that every mammal follows, from hippos to humans. The hippo's territoriality in water teaches about the importance of having secure space. The male hippo doesn't defend the entire river. He doesn't try to control every possible location. He establishes a manageable territory that he can effectively protect. Within that territory, he feels secure. Outside it, he's just another hippo moving through shared space. You need secure territory too. Not necessarily physical territory, though having space that's clearly yours helps, but also psychological territory. Boundaries around your time, your energy, your emotional resources. Places where you feel secure, saying, "This is mine, and I'm protecting it." Without some territory that you can defend, rest becomes impossible because there's nowhere that feels truly safe. Your bedroom, your bed, your sleep time should be defended territory. Protected space that serves one primary purpose, your restoration. When that space is invaded by work, by screens, by stimulation that prevents rest, your nervous system can't fully relax there. It doesn't recognize the space as secure territory dedicated to rest. The humans who successfully lived near hippos respected the hippos' territories absolutely. They didn't test boundaries. They didn't see how close they could get. They gave wide berth and moved on. That respect kept them safe. You can practice similar respect for your own boundaries. Don't test how little sleep you can function on. Don't see how much you can push before breaking. Don't compromise your secure territory just because you can survive the compromise. The hippo's aggression isn't personal. It's not attacking out of malice or cruelty. It's defending territory, protecting young, or responding to perceived threat based on instincts honed over millions of years. Understanding this doesn't make the danger less real, but it provides context. The hippo is being exactly what evolution designed it to be. Similarly, many threats in your environment aren't personal. Systems that create stress aren't specifically targeting you. Circumstances that feel oppressive aren't conspiracies against you personally. This doesn't make them less difficult, but it provides useful perspective. The challenge is to navigate what exists, not to take it personally, or to assume malicious intent where there's simply systemic reality. As your breathing continues its slow, steady rhythm as your body continues to release the accumulated tensions of the day. As your mind begins to drift toward the boundary of sleep, hold the hippo's lessons. Respect real dangers. Maintain appropriate protocols. Defend necessary boundaries.
Follow natural rhythms.
And having done all that, rest. The river continues to flow as it has for millions of years. The hippos continue their ancient patterns of night grazing and day resting. The human communities continue to navigate shared territory through learned wisdom and consistent caution. These patterns work because they're based on accurate assessment of reality, not on denial or on exaggeration. Your rest tonight is based on similar, accurate assessment. You've done what needs to be done. You've followed appropriate protocols. You've established secure territory. You've removed yourself from unnecessary risk. Now you can follow the hippo's daytime example. Rest in the buoyant water of deep sleep, allowing your body to be supported, allowing your energy to be conserved, allowing restoration to occur. The most dangerous animal in Africa taught your ancestors never to judge by appearances, never to become complacent, never to underestimate the unexpected. But it also taught them that proper protocols allow for survival and even thriving alongside real danger. Those ancestors slept peacefully on riverbanks where hippos grazed at night because they followed the rules that kept them safe. You've followed your rules tonight. You've completed your protocols. You've established your secure space. Now you can rest with the same earned peace that those ancient people felt. The hippo isn't coming for you. The territory is secure. The boundaries hold, and sleep, that most vulnerable state, becomes possible through proper preparation and appropriate respect for real risk. Let the river sounds, real or imagined, carry you deeper into relaxation. Let the ancient knowledge of successful coexistence with unpredictable danger reassure your nervous system. Let the proven effectiveness of maintained protocols purchase your peace tonight. The hippo taught humans to respect what deserves respect, and humans learned the lesson well enough to survive 50,000 years in hippo territory. You've learned your lessons too. You've earned your rest. The protocols are complete. The territory is secure. And now, like hippos resting in the daytime water, like ancient humans sleeping in their riverside camps, like all successful survivors who know when vigilance can be released, you can rest completely. From the massive bulk of hippos, we move now to something entirely different: pure speed and neurotoxic venom. The black mamba, named not for its skin color but for the inky black inside of its mouth, is one of the fastest snakes on Earth. It can move at speeds up to 20 kilometers per hour. Its venom is so potent that without antivenom, a bite is nearly always fatal. And yet this creature that seems designed for killing humans is responsible for only 10 to 20 human deaths per year across its entire African range. This remarkably low number reveals something crucial. The black mamba doesn't want to encounter humans any more than humans want to encounter it. Given any opportunity to escape, the mamba takes it. 99% of human mamba encounters end with the snake fleeing. The snake's speed isn't primarily for attacking humans.
It's for escaping danger.
The venom isn't designed for hunting humans. It's for subduing the small mammals and birds that make up its natural diet. Let me take you to the African bushveld on a hot afternoon, perhaps 20,000 years ago. The temperature is pushing 40 degrees Celsius. The air shimmers with heat. A group of humans is moving through tall grass, heading toward a water source. They're alert, watching not just for large predators, but for the subtle movements that might indicate a snake. One person freezes. They've spotted something, a long, grey-brown shape partially hidden in the grass ahead. A black mamba, probably around 4 meters long, basking in a patch of sunlight. The humans stop immediately. They don't panic. They don't rush forward. They simply stop and assess. The mamba has detected them too. Its head rises slightly, testing the air with its forked tongue. It's trying to determine what this disturbance is, whether it represents danger. The humans begin to back away slowly, calmly, giving the snake an escape route. They make soft sounds to ensure the snake knows where they are.
No sudden movements.
No aggressive postures. After a few tense seconds, the mamba makes its decision. It flows away through the grass with incredible speed, disappearing from sight within moments. The humans wait a few more minutes, allowing the snake plenty of time to clear the area. Then they continue their journey, slightly adjusted to avoid the snake's likely path. This is the ancient protocol, and it still works today. The mamba's reputation for aggression is largely undeserved. What people interpret as aggression is actually defensive behavior. When cornered, when escape is impossible, when a mamba feels trapped, then and only then does it become dangerous. It rises up, spreads its narrow hood, displays the black inside of its mouth as a warning.
And if the threat continues to approach, it strikes multiple times,
injecting neurotoxin with each bite. But this defensive aggression only occurs when humans violate the basic protocol. Always provide an escape route. Never corner a snake.
Never block its path.
Never try to capture or kill it. Simply stop, give space, allow escape. Follow this simple rule. And black mamba encounters almost never result in bites. The lesson here extends far beyond snakes. So many conflicts in life escalate not because of inherent aggression, but because someone feels cornered. When people have no escape route, no dignified exit, no way to retreat without losing face, they become dangerous even if they're not naturally aggressive. The mamba teaches the wisdom of always leaving an out, always providing a way for situations to de-escalate. Tonight, as you rest, consider where you might be cornering yourself. Are you holding positions that no longer serve you but feel impossible to abandon without admitting error? Are you in situations where you've eliminated your own escape routes? The mamba's wisdom is simple. Always keep a path open for retreat.
This isn't weakness.
This is sophisticated conflict management that evolution has proven effective over millions of years. The bushveld peoples learned to read the subtle signs of snake presence. Certain temperatures made snake encounters more likely. Certain types of terrain.
Certain times of day.
They developed an awareness that became second nature, not through fear, but through observation and respect. They taught this awareness to their children, not as terror, but as practical knowledge. Your own awareness of your environment, your intuition about situations, your gut feelings about people or places, these are modern versions of that same ancient skill. When something doesn't feel right, that's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition working below conscious thought. Your ancestors who ignored those feelings sometimes paid with their lives. The ones who listened to their intuition survived to become your lineage. The speed of the black mamba serves as metaphor for how quickly situations can change. One moment everything is calm. The next moment there's danger. But also one moment there's danger, and the next moment it's gone. The mamba doesn't pursue fleeing humans. Once the threat is past, once escape is achieved, the snake returns to its normal activities immediately. No grudge, no continued aggression. Just instant return to baseline. Your nervous system would benefit from learning this pattern. Modern humans often stay activated long after threats have passed. The difficult conversation ended hours ago, but you're still running through it. The stressful situation resolved, but your body hasn't received the message. The Mamba teaches instant return to calm once danger is past. That's efficient stress management. As your breathing continues its slow, deepening rhythm, as your body continues releasing whatever it's been holding, notice how quickly you can return to calm when you give yourself permission. The threat, whatever it was today, has passed. The danger, whatever it represented, is over. You can return to baseline instantly, like a mamba that's achieved escape and immediately resumes basking in sunlight. The 10 to 20 annual deaths from black mamba bites are tragic, but they represent a tiny fraction of the millions of encounters that occur. Most of those fatal bites happen when people try to kill the snake, try to capture it, or accidentally corner it. The protocol violations are clear. When protocols are followed, survival rate is near 100%. This should be deeply reassuring. Knowledge works. Respect works. Appropriate behavior creates safety even with creatures carrying neurotoxic venom and lightning speed. Your ancestors figured this out through careful observation and hard experience, and they passed that knowledge forward through the generations until it reached you. The black mamba moving through the bushveld is neither evil nor aggressive by nature. It's a predator superbly adapted to its ecological role. It controls rodent populations. It maintains ecosystem balance. It follows patterns refined over millions of years, and humans learn to coexist with it through understanding and respect, not through elimination. In your own life, not every challenge needs to be eliminated or conquered. Some things simply need to be understood and navigated. Some situations just need space and respect. Some conflicts resolve themselves when you stop trying to force resolution and simply provide room for natural de-escalation. The bushveld at twilight grows calm. The heat of the day fades. The black mamba finds its shelter for the night. And the humans who shared territory with it settle around their fires, having successfully navigated another day in a complex ecosystem. They tell stories not of conquest, but of coexistence. Not of domination, but of respect. And in those stories, they pass forward the wisdom that keeps the next generation safe. You're part of that unbroken chain of wisdom. You carry in your genes and your culture the accumulated knowledge of countless successful navigations of danger. Tonight, rest in that inheritance. Rest in the knowledge that appropriate awareness and response creates safety. Rest in the understanding that most dangers, given space and respect, choose to leave you alone. The mamba's lesson is complete. Swift escape beats prolonged conflict. De-escalation beats confrontation. Providing exit routes beats cornering opponents. And instant return to calm beats sustained activation. Let these lessons settle into your consciousness as your body settles into rest. The ancient wisdom holds. The protocols work. And you tonight are safe in that knowledge. We return to the water now, but we journey across the world from Africa to the Indo-Pacific region, where the largest living reptile still patrols ancient territories. The saltwater crocodile can reach 7 meters in length and weigh over a ton. It has the strongest bite force of any animal ever measured. It's been essentially unchanged for 200 million years, and it's the only crocodilian species that regularly travels through open ocean. Island hopping across vast distances, despite these impressive capabilities, despite living in regions densely populated with humans, saltwater crocodiles kill only 1 to 2 people per year on average. This extraordinarily low number, given the size and capability of the animals and the millions of people living in their territory, speaks to something profound: the longest continuous human-predator relationship on Earth. Aboriginal Australians have lived alongside saltwater crocodiles for at least 65,000 years. 65,000 years. That's roughly 3,250 generations of human experience with these apex predators. No other human culture has maintained such an extended relationship with such a formidable predator. And the knowledge accumulated over that incomprehensible span of time has created protocols so effective that they still work perfectly today. Let me take you to the coast of northern Australia,
Perhaps 40,000 years ago.
The sun is setting over mangrove forests that edge into the sea. The tide is coming in, bringing saltwater deep into the river systems. A family group of humans is preparing to cross a tidal creek to reach their camp on the other side. But they don't just wade in. First, they observe. They scan the water surface for the telltale signs. Eyes and nostrils barely visible, the V-wake of something large moving through water, ripples that indicate disturbance. They check the banks for slide marks where crocodiles have entered or exited the water. They look for tracks in the mud. They assess the timing, knowing that crocodiles are more active at certain tidal stages. They've been taught from childhood, never swim at dusk or dawn.
Never enter murky water.
Never use the same entry and exit point repeatedly.
Never ignore the signs.
These rules weren't created yesterday. They've been refined and tested and proven over thousands of generations. They represent the longest-running successful predator management protocols in human history. The family determines that the crossing is safe enough. They enter the water together, moving quickly and purposefully, creating disturbance that announces their presence. They cross at a shallow riffle where crocodiles are less likely to lurk. They keep watching all directions, and they exit on the far side without incident, as their ancestors have done countless times before. The saltwater crocodile teaches the lesson of deep time. When you've coexisted with something successfully for 65,000 years, you've proven that the relationship works. Not perfectly. There are occasional tragedies, but the overwhelming pattern is successful coexistence, and that pattern should provide deep reassurance about the effectiveness of accumulated wisdom. Think about what 65,000 years means. The pyramids are roughly 400-500 years old. Written history goes back perhaps 5,000 years. But this relationship between Aboriginal Australians and saltwater crocodiles predates all of that by 60,000 years. It predates agriculture. It predates permanent settlements. It goes back to when all humans were hunter-gatherers, living directly with the land and its creatures. And throughout that entire incomprehensible span of time, the protocols worked. The knowledge passed from generation to generation. The respect for the crocodile's power, combined with understanding of its behavior, created a framework for sharing territory. This wasn't dominance. It wasn't submission. It was relationship based on accurate mutual assessment. Tonight, as you rest, you're benefiting from similarly long-running human knowledge. The understanding of what makes humans feel safe, the recognition of what allows restful sleep, the wisdom about how to prepare body and mind for the vulnerability of unconsciousness. This knowledge wasn't invented recently. It's been refined over just as many generations as Aboriginal crocodile protocols. Your bedtime routines, whatever form they take, are echoes of ancient practices. Checking your surroundings before sleep, ensuring your space is secure, creating comfortable conditions, establishing predictable patterns. These aren't modern inventions. They're the same basic protocols humans have followed for tens of thousands of years. And they work because they address the ancient parts of your brain that assess safety before allowing sleep. The saltwater crocodile's ability to survive in both freshwater and saltwater, to travel between islands, to adapt to various environments while maintaining its core nature, teaches something about flexibility within consistency. The crocodile hasn't changed its fundamental form in 200 million years, but within that consistent form, it demonstrates remarkable adaptability to different circumstances. You can practice this same pattern. Your core values, your essential nature, your fundamental self can remain consistent even as you adapt to changing circumstances. Flexibility doesn't require abandoning your center. Adaptation doesn't mean losing yourself. The crocodile proves that you can be both ancient and successful, both unchanging and adaptable. The Aboriginal Dreamtime stories about crocodiles aren't just mythology. They're encoded knowledge transmission. They're mnemonic devices that carry crucial survival information across generations. The stories teach where crocodiles live, how they behave, what signs indicate their presence, what protocols prevent attacks. This information, embedded in engaging narrative, survives intact for thousands of years because it's too important to lose. Your own stories, the narratives you tell yourself about who you are and how the world works, carry similar importance. They encode your accumulated wisdom. They guide your behavior. They shape your responses to circumstances. And the most effective stories are the ones that have been tested by experience, refined through trial, and proven to serve your survival and well-being. The 1 to 2 annual deaths from saltwater crocodile attacks, when examined closely, almost always involve protocol violations. Someone swimming at dusk, someone entering murky water, someone ignoring warning signs, someone unaware of the basic rules that Aboriginal peoples have followed for 65,000 years.
This isn't victim blaming.
It's acknowledging that the protocols work when followed. Your own protocols for managing life's challenges work too when you follow them.
You know what helps you sleep well?
You know what reduces your stress. You know what situations to avoid and which ones you can safely navigate. Sometimes you follow your own wisdom. Sometimes you don't. The saltwater crocodile reminds you that protocols exist for reasons proven by extensive experience. As your body continues to sink deeper into relaxation, as your breathing matches the rhythm of gentle tides flowing through mangrove forests, as your consciousness begins to drift toward the boundary of sleep, hold this deep time perspective. 65,000 years of successful coexistence, 65,000 years of proven protocols, 65,000 years of humans resting peacefully in crocodile territory because they followed knowledge that worked. You're resting tonight in similarly proven circumstances. Your space has been secured according to protocols refined over countless generations. Your preparation has followed patterns that have served human well-being for all of human history. Your body knows how to do this because it's been doing it successfully for 300,000 years of human existence. The saltwater crocodile continues its ancient patrol through coastal waters. Aboriginal families continue to follow protocols that have never needed updating because they were right from the beginning. And you continue the human pattern of preparing for sleep according to wisdom that transcends any individual lifetime. This is continuity. This is tradition. This is the deep assurance that comes from knowing your behavior is aligned with ancient proven patterns. Let the weight of geological time reassure you. Let the success of 65,000 years of human-crocodile coexistence inform your trust in accumulated wisdom. Let the proven effectiveness of following appropriate protocols settle your nervous system into the recognition that you've done what needs to be done. The ancient dragon patrols the ancient waters. The ancient wisdom guides the ancient practice. And you, ancient in your lineage and new in this moment, rest in the certainty of patterns that have always worked. From the tropical coasts where saltwater crocodiles patrol, we travel now to the temperate and northern forests where brown bears, also called grizzly bears in North America, reign as undisputed sovereigns. A large brown bear can weigh 600 kilograms and stand 3 meters tall on its hind legs. It has claws up to 10 centimeters long and can run at speeds of 50 kilometers per hour. It's among the most powerful land predators on Earth. Yet despite this tremendous capability, despite millions of humans visiting bear country every year, brown bears kill only 1 to 2 people annually in North America. Add in bear populations across Europe and Asia, and the global number remains remarkably low.
This isn't because bears are weak or incapable.
It's because humans learned over at least 15,000 years of coexistence exactly how to share territory with these magnificent animals. Let me take you to a forest in what is now the Pacific Northwest. Perhaps 10,000 years ago, autumn is arriving. The salmon are running up the rivers to spawn, and the bears are gathering to feed, building the fat reserves that will carry them through winter hibernation. A group of humans is also here, harvesting salmon, preserving fish for their own winter needs. The humans and bears are essentially competing for the same resource. This could create conflict. Bears are possessive of food sources. They're powerful enough to drive humans away easily. And yet, the two species work out an arrangement. The humans fish during certain times in certain locations. The bears fish in other times and places. When they encounter each other, both species signal non-aggression through specific behaviors. The humans make noise as they move through the forest, announcing their presence, allowing bears to detect and avoid them. They never approach a bear's food source.
They never come between a mother and cubs.
They store their own food in ways that don't attract bears to their camps. And when accidental encounters occur, they back away slowly, speaking in calm voices, showing that they're not threatening. These protocols were developed through careful observation and, occasionally, through tragic failures that taught survivors what not to do. But over thousands of years, they became refined to the point where they work remarkably well. Indigenous peoples throughout bear country maintained these relationships successfully for countless generations. The brown bear teaches one of nature's most important lessons, the necessity and wisdom of rest. Bears are not constantly active. They follow clear seasonal patterns. In autumn, they feed intensively, building fat reserves. In winter, they hibernate, entering a state of suspended animation for 4 to 7 months. In spring, they emerge lean and hungry. In summer, they feed and recuperate. This cycle has served bears successfully for millions of years. Modern humans often try to override seasonal and circadian rhythms, maintaining constant productivity regardless of natural cycles. This is exhausting and ultimately unsustainable. The bear's wisdom suggests that rest isn't laziness, it's essential maintenance, it's resource conservation. It's preparation for the active seasons. Tonight, you're following the bear's wisdom. You're entering your own version of hibernation, not for months, but for the hours that your body needs to repair, restore, consolidate memories, regulate hormones, strengthen immune function, and prepare for tomorrow's activities. This isn't time wasted. This is time invested in your own sustainability. The bear in its winter den doesn't worry about missing opportunities, doesn't stress about being unproductive. It doesn't feel guilty about resting. It simply follows the ancient pattern that its biology requires. Your biology requires rest too. Different durations, different patterns, but the same fundamental need. Honoring that need is wisdom, not weakness. Indigenous peoples throughout bear country developed complex relationships with bears that went beyond simple avoidance. Bears appeared in their stories, their ceremonies, their spiritual understanding. The bear was seen as a teacher, showing humans how to find certain foods, how to prepare for winter, how to balance feasting with fasting, activity with rest. Many indigenous cultures maintained specific protocols for showing respect to bears even after killing them for food. The bear's body would be honored. Specific prayers would be spoken. Certain parts would be handled in particular ways. This wasn't superstition. It was maintaining a respectful relationship with a being that commanded reverence. It was acknowledging that humans and bears were both part of the same ecosystem, both deserving of respect. Your own relationships with the systems that support you deserve similar acknowledgement. The food that nourishes you, the water that hydrates you, the air that you breathe, the ecosystems that provide resources. Taking these for granted, consuming without awareness, using without appreciation, creates a disconnection that modern humans feel acutely. The bear's lesson through indigenous teaching is maintain respectful relationship with what sustains you. The hibernating bear's heart rate drops from 40 beats per minute to as low as 8. Its metabolism slows dramatically. It doesn't eat, drink, urinate, or defecate for months. It survives entirely on stored fat. This is the ultimate trust and preparation. The bear enters hibernation trusting completely that it's stored enough resources to survive until spring. You can practice a smaller version of this trust. You've prepared for tonight. You've done today's work. You've handled today's challenges. Now you can trust that preparation enough to fully rest. You don't need to keep working mentally. You don't need to keep planning obsessively. You can trust your preparation the way the bear trusts its fat reserves. National parks across North America have proven that bears and humans can coexist safely when humans follow appropriate protocols.
Millions of visitors enter bear country annually.
The vast majority never have negative encounters because they follow simple rules. Store food properly, maintain distance, make noise while hiking, carry bear spray, never approach cubs or food sources. These modern protocols are based on the same traditional knowledge that indigenous peoples developed over thousands of years. The rules work because they're based on accurate understanding of bear behavior. Bears don't want conflict with humans. Given any opportunity to avoid confrontation, they take it. The modern protocols simply provide those opportunities. The 1 to 2 annual deaths from brown bear attacks in North America, while tragic, represent a remarkable safety record. Compare this to the dangers of driving or swimming, or countless other activities humans engage in regularly, and bear country emerges as remarkably safe when protocols are followed. As your breathing continues to slow and deepen, as your body continues to release whatever tensions it's been carrying, imagine the profound rest of a hibernating bear. Imagine that complete surrender to the body's need for restoration. Imagine trusting so completely in your preparation that you can let go of all vigilance for hours at a time. You're not actually hibernating. Your rest is measured in hours, not months. But the quality of rest can be similar: complete, restorative, trusting, surrendered. The bear doesn't half hibernate, keeping part of its consciousness active and worried. It fully commits to the rest its body requires. You can practice that same full commitment tonight. The forests where bears and humans coexist continue their ancient patterns. Bears follow their seasonal rhythms. Humans follow their protocols. Both species thrive because both species have learned what works. The relationship isn't perfect. There are occasional conflicts, but the overwhelming pattern, proven over thousands of years and millions of encounters, is peaceful coexistence. You're part of similar proven patterns. Humans have been successfully preparing for sleep for 300,000 years. Your bedtime routine tonight follows wisdom tested by countless generations. Your body knows what to do when given the right conditions and the right permission. Trust that ancient knowledge. Trust your preparation. Trust that you've stored enough resources, done enough work, prepared enough foundation to surrender completely to rest. The mountain sovereign rests in its den, teaching by example that power and rest are not opposites. The strongest animals rest most deeply. The most capable predators surrender most completely to sleep. This is efficiency. This is wisdom.
This is the pattern that serves life. Follow it tonight without reservation.
The bear has shown you how. From the forest den of the hibernating bear, we dive back into water, but this time into an unexpected place. Bull sharks are unique among large shark species for their ability to survive in fresh water. They've been found thousands of kilometers up rivers, in lakes, in water that most sharks couldn't tolerate for minutes. They're aggressive, territorial, and responsible for probably more attacks on humans than any other shark species, though exact numbers are difficult to determine because attacks in rivers and estuaries are often misattributed. Yet even bull sharks, despite their reputation and capability, kill only about 20 to 30 humans per year worldwide. Given that bull sharks live in some of the most densely populated coastal and river areas on Earth, this represents remarkable restraint for an animal that's frequently portrayed as mindlessly aggressive. Let me take you to a river delta in Southeast Asia, perhaps 5,000 years ago. The river carries sediment from mountains far inland, mixing with tidal surges from the ocean, creating murky brown water where visibility is measured in centimeters. A fishing community has lived here for generations, harvesting fish and shellfish from these productive mixed waters. The fishers know that bull sharks patrol these waters. They've seen them occasionally, dark shapes moving through the murky flow. They've lost nets to sharks, They've heard stories from elders about encounters that went wrong, but they also know through accumulated observation that bull sharks follow certain patterns. The sharks are more active at certain tides. They prefer certain depths and channels. They're more aggressive when water is especially murky or disturbed. They're territorial during breeding seasons. All of this knowledge built up over generations allows the fishers to work safely in water that contains powerful predators. The fishers adapt their activities around shark behavior. They don't swim in deep channels at dusk. They avoid certain areas during breeding season. They work in groups so that multiple sets of eyes can watch for danger. They minimize splashing and erratic movement that might trigger investigation. And they treat every entry into the water as carrying risk.
Never becoming casual or complacent. This careful awareness,
this constant respect for the reality of sharing space with apex predators keeps the fishing community largely safe.
Not perfectly safe.
Occasionally there are incidents, but safe enough that families can continue their livelihood generation after generation. The bull shark teaches the lesson of adaptation across boundaries. Most sharks are strictly marine. Some can tolerate brackish water briefly, but bull sharks truly adapted to cross the salt-to-fresh boundary freely. They can hunt in the ocean, travel up rivers, even take up residence in freshwater lakes for extended periods.
This isn't just physical tolerance.
It's behavioral flexibility combined with physiological adaptation. Humans are also boundary crossers. We've adapted to live in every terrestrial environment on Earth, from Arctic tundra to tropical rainforest, from high mountains to below sea level. We cross cultural boundaries, linguistic boundaries, social boundaries. This flexibility is one of humanity's greatest strengths. But it requires constant adaptation, constant adjustment to new conditions. Tonight, as you transition from waking to sleeping, you're crossing another boundary. The wake-sleep boundary is one you cross twice daily, but it's never automatic. It requires letting go of waking consciousness, releasing the day's concerns, adjusting your physiology to enter a completely different state. The bull shark's ease in moving between salt and fresh water can serve as a model for your own boundary crossing into sleep. The fishers in the river delta developed specific rituals before entering the water. These weren't superstitions, they were psychological preparation tools. By performing the ritual, by consciously acknowledging the risk and their respect for the sharks, they put themselves into the proper mental state for careful awareness. The ritual marked the boundary crossing from relative safety to shared territory with predators. You benefit from similar rituals before sleep. Whether it's brushing teeth, checking locks, dimming lights, or any other consistent routine, these actions serve as psychological markers. They tell your nervous system that you're transitioning, that you're crossing the boundary from active engagement with the world to the vulnerable state of sleep. The ritual creates the mental and physical conditions that allow that crossing to happen smoothly. Bull sharks' ability to adapt to fresh water came at a cost. It requires significant energy to maintain the physiological processes that allow them to handle changing salinity. They can't stay in fresh water indefinitely without returning to salt water periodically. This teaches that adaptation to new environments, while powerful and useful, also requires resources. Flexibility has a metabolic cost. Your own adaptations to changing life circumstances also require energy. Adjusting to new jobs, new relationships, new living situations, new challenges takes psychological and physical resources. This is why periods of significant change are exhausting. You're running the adaptive processes constantly. The bull shark's lesson is that this is normal and necessary, but it also means you need to account for that energy expenditure. Tonight, you're not adapting to new circumstances. Tonight, you're resting from the adaptation you've been doing. You're allowing your resources to replenish. You're giving your body and mind the opportunity to consolidate the changes you've been processing. Like a bull shark that spent time in fresh water now resting in salt water, you're returning to your baseline for restoration. The 20 to 30 annual deaths from bull shark attacks, while higher than most other shark species, still represent an infinitesimally small fraction of the encounters that occur. Millions of people swim, fish, and work in bull shark territory every single day. The vast majority of those encounters pass without incident because the sharks are not actively hunting humans. They're investigating or defending territory or reacting to stimuli that resemble their normal prey. Understanding shark motivation doesn't eliminate risk, but it provides context. The bull shark isn't evil. It's not malicious. It's operating according to patterns refined over millions of years of evolution. When humans understand those patterns and adjust behavior accordingly, coexistence becomes possible even in close proximity. The same principle applies to many challenges in your life. Understanding motivation, recognizing patterns, seeing the evolutionary or systemic logic behind behaviors that affect you. This doesn't always solve problems, but it provides useful context. It reduces the feeling of being personally targeted. It allows for more effective response strategies. As your body continues sinking deeper towards sleep, as your consciousness continues drifting away from active engagement with waking concerns, notice the ease with which this boundary crossing happens when you allow it. You don't have to force yourself to sleep.
You just have to stop preventing it.
You just have to provide the right conditions and get out of your own way. The bull shark doesn't struggle to adapt between salt and fresh water. It simply allows its physiology to make the necessary adjustments. It goes with the flow, quite literally, trusting biological processes that have been refined over millions of years. Your body knows how to sleep. Your brain knows how to make the transition. Trust those ancient processes. The fishing community in the river delta continues its work as night falls. They pull in their nets, secure their boats, return to shore. They've spent the day in close proximity to dangerous predators, but they've followed protocols that kept them safe. Tonight they'll rest, knowing that tomorrow they'll follow the same patterns that have served their families for countless generations. You're following patterns too. Patterns of sleep preparation that humans have refined over all of human history. Patterns of evening winding down that allow the nervous system to shift states. Patterns of creating safety conditions that permit vulnerability. These patterns work because they've been tested extensively. The ancient mariner, the bull shark, continues its patrol through brackish waters, moving between worlds with ease, born of perfect adaptation. It doesn't question its ability to cross boundaries. It simply does what its nature equips it to do. You're equipped to cross the wake-sleep boundary just as surely. Your nature includes this capability.
Trust it tonight.
The boundary is there, but it's permeable. Crossing is natural, and on the other side, restoration awaits. We return now to land, to the forests and tundras of the Northern Hemisphere, to meet one of humanity's most complex relationships, the grey wolf. This is the species that became dogs. The species that humans partnered with so successfully that the partnership transformed both species. But wild wolves remain, following ancient patterns and teaching lessons that domestication hasn't erased. Grey wolf attacks on humans are extraordinarily rare. In North America, there have been only 2 fatal wolf attacks on humans in the last century, despite millions of humans living in or visiting wolf territory. In Europe and Asia, where wolf populations overlap more extensively with human populations, attacks remain rare.
Wolves, it turns out,
developed a sophisticated understanding of humans over the 40,000 years since some wolves began the journey toward becoming dogs. Let me take you to a winter evening on the Eurasian steppe, perhaps 35,000 years ago. Snow covers the ground, reflecting moonlight bright enough to see clearly even at night. A human hunting party has made a large deer, and they're in the process of butchering it. In the distance, watching from perhaps 100 meters away, a wolf pack observes. The wolves are interested in the kill. The humans know this. There's a kind of negotiation happening, a communication between 2 social species who recognize each other as capable and dangerous. The humans make noise, show their weapons, establish their claim to the kill. The wolves watch, assess, make their own calculations about risk versus reward. Eventually, the humans finish their butchering and move away, leaving portions of the carcass that they can't carry. The wolves wait until the humans have left, then move in to claim what remains. Both species benefit. The humans keep the choice portions without having to defend against wolves. The wolves gain food without having to fight dangerous humans. This is the beginning of understanding. The first steps of a relationship that would eventually transform both species. The wolf pack teaches lessons about social structure and cooperation that paralleled human development. Like humans, wolves are highly social. Like humans, they hunt cooperatively. Like humans, they have complex communication systems. Like humans, they care for their young collectively. When early humans watched wolves, they saw a mirror of their own social strategies. The pack structure provides safety and efficiency that solitary animals can't achieve. Wolves can take down prey much larger than themselves through coordinated action. They can defend territory more effectively as a group. They can care for injured or ill pack members. They share food, take turns watching pups, communicate across distances. This is sophisticated social organization that requires trust, communication, and shared purpose. Your own social connections, even in modern contexts that look nothing like wolf packs, serve similar functions. You achieve things through cooperation that you couldn't manage alone. You receive support during difficult times. You contribute to others' well-being. You're part of networks that provide information, resources, assistance. This isn't weakness or dependency. It's the same social strategy that made both wolves and humans successful. Tonight, even if you're physically alone, you're not truly isolated. You're part of social networks that persist even when not actively engaged. You're connected to family, friends, colleagues, communities. Those connections don't disappear during sleep. They remain, providing a sense of security that allows rest. The wolf in the pack sleeps deeply because other pack members are watching. You rest deeply because you're part of social systems that provide various forms of watching. The howling of wolves serves multiple purposes. It communicates location to pack members. It announces territory to other packs. It coordinates hunting activities, but it also bonds the pack together. When wolves howl in chorus, they're affirming their connection, their shared identity. There's something deeply reassuring about hearing your people's voices raised together, about participating in shared expressions that announce, "We are here, we are together, we are a unified presence." You experience versions of this through various group activities: music, chanting, cheering, collective laughter, shared rituals. These moments of synchronization with others create feelings of safety and belonging that your ancient social brain recognizes as protection. The lone wolf is vulnerable. The pack member is secure. You are a pack member, even if your pack is dispersed and digital, and different from ancient patterns. The two fatal wolf attacks in North America over the last century both involved wolves that had lost their natural fear of humans through habituation. The wolves weren't more aggressive, they were less cautious. They'd learned that humans weren't threats, so they approached too closely, eventually creating situations that escalated into tragedy. This teaches something counterintuitive: a certain amount of mutual wariness, a certain respectful distance, actually serves both species better than false familiarity. In your own relationships and interactions, maintaining appropriate boundaries often serves everyone better than forced closeness. Some distance is healthy. Some wariness is protective. Not all relationships need to be intimate. Not all interactions need to be deeply personal. The wolf and human relationship works best when both species maintain respect that includes appropriate caution. The territory that a wolf pack defends can be enormous, up to 2,500 square kilometers in areas where prey is scarce. The pack doesn't try to be everywhere at once. They patrol boundaries, mark territory, and trust that their presence is established. Within the territory, they have specific sites for rendezvous, for denning, for rest. They know their territory intimately, every feature, every resource, every danger. Your own territory, however you define it, deserves similar intimate knowledge and confident defense. whether it's physical space, time boundaries, emotional limits, or values that you won't compromise. Knowing your territory and being willing to defend it is essential for well-being. The wolf pack that can't defend territory doesn't survive. The individual who can't maintain boundaries becomes depleted. Tonight, you're in your defended territory. Your space, your time, your protected place. You've established these boundaries consciously or unconsciously, and they hold. You can rest within them because you trust their integrity. The wolf pack sleeping in their rendezvous site isn't worried about intrusion because they've marked territory effectively.
You're not worried tonight.
Because you've established safety through your own version of territorial maintenance, or the process of wolves becoming dogs over thousands of generations, teaches something profound about transformation through relationship. The wolves who became dogs weren't conquered or forced. They chose proximity to humans because it offered advantages. They self-selected for traits that worked well with human partnership. Over generations, this created animals that were still wolves in many ways, but transformed in others. You're also transformed by your relationships, your experiences, your choices across time. You're not the same person you were years ago. You've adapted, learned, grown. Some transformations you chose deliberately. Some happened through circumstance. But like wolves becoming dogs, you're still fundamentally yourself while also being changed by your journey. Both things can be true simultaneously. As your breathing continues its slow rhythm, as your body continues releasing into deeper relaxation, feel your connection to the ancient human-wolf understanding. Those early humans who watched wolves and saw partnership potential instead of only threat. Those early wolves who watched humans and saw opportunity instead of only danger. Both species taking a chance on relationship that would transform both. The grey wolf moving through snowy forests tonight follows patterns laid down over millions of years of evolution. Pack structure refined through countless generations. Hunting strategies proven effective through extensive testing. Communication systems developed through necessity and preserved through success. These patterns work because they've been thoroughly validated by survival. Your patterns for managing life, for maintaining well-being, for creating safety, these also represent accumulated wisdom. Maybe not millions of years, but certainly the wisdom of many who came before you, plus your own hard-won experience. Trust those patterns tonight. Trust that what has worked before will work again. Trust the pack-level wisdom that extends far beyond individual experience. The partnership between humans and wolves that created dogs is ongoing, testament to the power of cooperation between species. Dogs remain the most successful large carnivore on Earth in terms of population and range, precisely because of human partnership. Wolves remain in the wild, maintaining their independence, following their own patterns. Both paths work. Both represent valid choices about how to navigate existence. You navigate similar choices about independence and interdependence. When to rely on others and when to handle things alone. When to maintain fierce independence and when to accept partnership or support. The wolf teaches that both strategies have value. The wolf that became dog and the wolf that stayed wild both found paths to success. Your own balance between autonomy and connection is similarly individual and valid. The pack settling for the night in their territory, some wolves sleeping while others watch, pups curled together for warmth. The established patterns of social cooperation enabling rest for all. This is ancient mammalian wisdom about how social species survive. You're part of that same pattern, adapted for human circumstances, but fundamentally unchanged in its core logic. Rest now in pack security, even if your pack is dispersed or digital or different from what packs looked like for most of human history. The principle remains: social connection enables individual rest. Collective vigilance purchases personal relaxation. Belonging to something larger than yourself creates foundation for the vulnerability that sleep requires. The wolf's howl echoes across winter forests, calling the pack together.
Announcing presence, establishing territory.
Listen for your own version of that call, the ways you signal your belonging, your connection, your place in social structures that sustain you, and then rest in the response, in knowing that your call has been heard, your presence registered, your place secured. The ancient strategist, the grey wolf, teaches through existence itself. Cooperation works, social bonds protect, pack membership enables individual flourishing. These lessons served your ancestors for millions of years before humans existed. They serve you still tonight as you rest within invisible but real webs of connection that make your sleep possible. We've journeyed now through 10 predators, 10 teachers, 10 species that shaped human evolution and continue to share our world. Each one has taught specific lessons. Each relationship has proven successful over thousands or even tens of thousands of years. And all of it points to a larger truth. Humans learn to thrive not by eliminating danger, but by understanding it, respecting it, and working within natural patterns. Think about what this means for your existence tonight. You are alive because every single one of your ancestors successfully navigated a world far more dangerous than yours. They didn't have walls and locks and modern medicine and emergency services. They had knowledge, awareness, cooperation, and respect for the creatures around them.
And it worked.
15,000 generations of successful survival brought you into existence. That's not a small thing.
That's not meaningless.
You carry in your genes, in your instincts, in your nervous system, the accumulated wisdom of countless successful navigations of genuine danger. When your intuition speaks, that's 15,000 generations of experience informing your assessment. When your body reacts to potential threats, that's thoroughly tested response systems activating. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from the pinnacle of survival success. Tonight, you can honor that inheritance by following the ancient wisdom. Proper preparation enables deep rest. Your ancestors couldn't afford poor sleep. Exhaustion in a dangerous world meant death. So they developed sophisticated understanding of what allows restful sleep. They created protected spaces. They established watch rotations. They developed evening routines that signaled to the nervous system that it was safe to become vulnerable. You're following that same ancient template, adapted for modern circumstances. Your locked doors are their cave entrances. Your bedtime routine is their evening fire ritual. Your protected space is their chosen campsite. The specific details change, but the underlying pattern remains constant because it's based on deep human needs that haven't changed. The predators we've explored tonight, from sharks to bears to crocodiles to wolves, each taught your ancestors specific survival lessons. But they also taught something larger. The world contains danger, and you can learn to navigate it successfully. Fear is appropriate, but terror isn't necessary. Respect is essential, but paralysis isn't helpful. Awareness serves survival, but obsessive worry doesn't. These lessons remain relevant because modern life contains its own forms of danger. Not usually physical predation, though that remains possible, but danger nonetheless. Financial insecurity,
Social conflict,
health challenges.
uncertainty about the future.
Your ancient survival systems activate in response to these modern threats, sometimes appropriately, sometimes excessively. The wisdom from ancestral predator relationships applies. Accurate assessment of actual risk, appropriate response to genuine threats, and release of vigilance when circumstances allow. Don't ignore real dangers, but don't inflate unlikely risks into constant terror. Don't minimize genuine threats, but don't treat every uncertainty as a crisis. Calibrate your response to match actual conditions. Tonight, actual conditions allow rest.
You're not being hunted. You're not in immediate danger.
You're not facing threats that require sustained vigilance. Your modern space is safer than any space your ancestors could have imagined. Locked doors, walls, roofs, heating, cooling, comfort beyond what royalty enjoyed just centuries ago. You're in the safest conditions humans have ever achieved. Your nervous system might not automatically believe this. It evolved in much more dangerous conditions. It's designed to be cautious, to stay alert, to assume risk until proven otherwise. That's why you need to consciously give yourself permission to rest. Your body needs to hear from your conscious mind that the assessment is complete, the threats are low, the safety is real, and deep rest is appropriate. The ancient contract between humans and predators still holds. Awareness and respect create coexistence. Understanding and appropriate behavior prevent most conflicts. Knowledge passed down through generations works as well today as it did thousands of years ago. This should be deeply reassuring. Ancient wisdom remains effective. Pattern recognition still serves survival. Accumulated knowledge hasn't become obsolete. In your own life, the wisdom you've accumulated through experience remains valuable even as circumstances change. The core lessons about what serves your well-being, what creates safety, what allows for flourishing, these don't expire. Trust what you've learned. Trust what you've proven through your own experience. Trust that you know more than you sometimes give yourself credit for. As your breathing continues to slow, as your body continues to release deeper layers of tension, feel the protection of 15,000 generations surrounding you. Feel the accumulated wisdom of countless ancestors who figured out how to rest despite real danger. Feel the proven effectiveness of patterns that have served human well-being for all of human history. You're not alone in this moment. You're connected across vast stretches of time to everyone who has ever prepared for sleep. You're part of an unbroken chain of successful rest that stretches back to the first humans. The pattern works. It has always worked. It's working right now as your body responds to ancient cues that signal safety and permission for vulnerability. The predators we've explored continue their existence tonight, following patterns as ancient as the species themselves. Sharks patrol oceans. Crocodiles watch rivers. Bears sleep in winter dens. Wolves travel in packs, each species doing exactly what evolution designed it to do, exactly what it has done successfully for longer than humans have existed. And humans continue their pattern too, preparing carefully, resting deeply, waking refreshed to face another day. This cycle has repeated roughly 300 billion times across all of human history. 300 billion successful sleeps, 300 billion proofs that the pattern works. You're part of that continuation tonight. The ancient contract isn't just between humans and predators, it's between humans and their own bodies, between conscious minds and ancient nervous systems, between present circumstances and evolutionary design. The contract says, when proper conditions are met, when appropriate preparations are complete, when real safety is established, then deep rest is not only possible but necessary. You've met those conditions tonight. You've completed appropriate preparations. You've established real safety. Now the contract requires that you rest. Not as optional activity, but as essential component of the cycle that keeps you functional, healthy, capable. Rest is your duty to the ancestors who survived so you could exist. Rest is your gift to the future that depends on your continued well-being. Let the weight of that ancient contract settle over you like the most comfortable blanket ever woven. Let the proven effectiveness of patterns repeated 300 billion times reassure your nervous system that this is safe, this is right, this is exactly what you should be doing. Let the knowledge that every ancestor succeeded at this same task give you confidence that you can too. The ancient contract continues. The proven patterns hold. The accumulated wisdom works. And you tonight, rest in the certainty of 15,000 generations of survival success. You are the proof that the contract works. Your existence is the evidence that your ancestors did this correctly. Now it's your turn to follow the pattern that brought you into being. From the vast sweep of evolutionary time, let's bring the focus back to this specific night, this particular moment, your immediate experience. Ancient wisdom becomes most powerful when applied practically to present circumstances. So how do you translate 15,000 generations of successful survival into tonight's rest? Start with the most basic ancient protocol, perimeter security. Your ancestors checked the cave entrance, ensured no predators lurked nearby, established clear sight lines, verified escape routes. In modern terms, this means checking your locks, looking at windows, ensuring your space is secured against intrusion. This isn't paranoia. This is the same pre-sleep protocol humans have followed forever. When you check these things, don't rush through mechanically.
Actually observe. Actually verify.
Let your conscious mind register that yes, the door is locked, yes, the windows are secure, yes, the space is protected. This conscious registration allows your nervous system to complete its safety checklist. Without that completion, part of your brain remains in assessment mode, preventing deep rest. The ancient practice of banking the fire for the night translates to managing your environment for optimal sleep. Temperature, lighting, sound, all of these affect sleep quality. Your ancestors knew that the fire needed to provide enough warmth without too much light or smoke. They adjusted carefully based on extensive experience about what allowed best rest. You can do similar environmental optimization. Room temperature cool enough for comfortable sleep, but warm enough to avoid cold stress. Lighting dimmed or eliminated to signal your brain that day has ended. Sound managed to avoid startling disruptions while allowing some environmental awareness.
These aren't modern inventions.
These are ancient practices adapted to new circumstances. The pre-sleep gathering around the fire, the sharing of the day's experiences, the telling of stories, the verbal processing of challenges and successes, this served psychological purposes that remain relevant. Modern humans benefit from similar processing, talking through the day, writing in journals, reviewing what happened, acknowledging difficulties and victories. This processing serves to close mental loops that might otherwise keep you awake. Your brain doesn't rest well when it thinks tasks are incomplete, problems are unresolved, important information hasn't been properly filed. The evening story circle allowed ancestral humans to process their experiences, receive social validation, share burdens, celebrate successes. This psychological completion enabled rest. You might not have a literal fire circle, but you can practice version of the same completion. Review your day briefly.
Acknowledge what you accomplished.
Accept what you didn't. Identify what needs attention tomorrow, but doesn't need thought tonight. This creates boundaries between today and tomorrow, between work that's done and work that's coming, between what requires current attention and what can wait. The ancient practice of establishing watch rotations taught something crucial. You don't have to maintain vigilance alone. Some tribe members slept while others watched. Trust in the collective vigilance allowed individual rest. Modern equivalents include security systems, neighborhood watch programs, emergency services, social support networks. You're not solely responsible for maintaining constant awareness. Recognizing that you're part of systems that provide various forms of protection allows your personal vigilance to rest. Police patrol while you sleep. Fire systems monitor while you're unconscious.
Friends or family would respond if you called.
Emergency services are available. You're not isolated and solely self-reliant. You're part of collective security systems that function while you rest. The evening routine itself serves as psychological preparation for vulnerability.
Ancient humans didn't just suddenly fall asleep.
They went through preparation sequences, securing the perimeter, managing the fire, arranging sleeping materials, settling into position. These actions were both practical and ritualistic, signaling to body and mind that sleep was approaching. Your bedtime routine serves the same function. Whatever sequence you follow, washing face, brushing teeth, changing clothes, arranging bedding, adjusting environment, these actions are signals. They tell your nervous system that transition is happening. The more consistent your routine, the more effectively it signals, the more smoothly your body can shift into sleep preparation. Ancient humans learned to trust their preparations enough to fully relax. They couldn't maintain constant tension. That would have prevented the deep rest necessary for survival. So they developed the psychological skill of completing the security checklist and then releasing the worry. They verified what could be verified, prepared what could be prepared, and then chose to trust it. This skill remains essential. You can't maintain constant hypervigilance. You can't check and recheck endlessly. At some point, you need to decide that enough is enough, that you've done what can be done, that continuing worry doesn't add safety.
Ancient humans made this decision every night.
You can make it tonight. The psychological permission to rest came partly from trust in preparations, but also from trust in response capability. Ancient humans knew that if danger did arise, they could wake and respond. They weren't choosing to be defenseless. They were choosing to rest while maintaining the capability to react if necessary. This sleep works the same way. You don't become completely unconscious. You maintain the ability to wake if needed. This retained response capability allows for paradox of restful vigilance. You're deeply asleep, yet capable of waking if circumstances require. You're not maintaining active awareness, yet not completely disconnected from your environment. This is sophisticated nervous system management that evolution refined over millions of years. Your body knows how to do this. Trust that capability. The ancient practice of spoken blessings or protections before sleep wasn't superstition. It was psychological preparation. Speaking words of safety, protection, peace, these created mental frameworks that allowed rest. The content mattered less than the intention, marking the transition, giving permission, establishing psychological safety. You can practice your own version. It doesn't have to be religious or supernatural. Simple acknowledgement works. I'm safe now.
I've done enough for today.
I can rest. Speaking this aloud or thinking it deliberately creates framework for your nervous system to follow. You're giving explicit permission for the transition into vulnerability. As your body continues its progression toward deep sleep, as your breathing becomes slower and easier, as your muscles release their final holdings, recognize that you're following protocols refined over countless generations.
You're not improvising. You're not making this up.
You're following the ancient human pattern for transitioning from waking vigilance to sleeping restoration. The practical wisdom remains practical. Secure your perimeter, optimize your environment, process your day, trust your preparations, recognize collective support, follow consistent routine, give explicit permission, maintain response capability, and then surrender to rest. These steps work because they address the actual requirements your nervous system has for allowing vulnerability.
Follow them completely tonight.
Trust them thoroughly. Rest in their proven effectiveness. There's one more predator we haven't fully discussed, and it's the most successful apex predator in Earth's history. Humans. Your species. You. Understanding yourself as predator, not just as potential prey, completes the picture and offers the final piece of wisdom that allows deep rest. Humans are apex predators, not in the same way as lions or bears, but predators nonetheless. No natural predator consistently hunts healthy adult humans. Humans hunt nearly everything else. Humans have spread to every terrestrial environment on Earth. Humans have driven numerous species to extinction through hunting. Humans are, objectively, the most dangerous large animal on the planet. This isn't meant to create guilt or shame. It's meant to provide accurate self-assessment. You belong to the species that won the predator competition. You carry the genetics, the brain structure, the capabilities of that winning lineage. Understanding this changes how you relate to other predators and to your own sense of safety. When you understand yourself as carrying apex predator capability,
even if you personally never hunt, even if you're peaceful and gentle,
you can access a different kind of confidence. Your ancestors weren't prey that survived through luck. They were strategic, intelligent, cooperative hunters who survived through skill and capability. That inheritance is yours. This doesn't mean arrogance or recklessness. The most successful predators are those who respect other predators, who assess risk accurately, who don't take unnecessary chances. But it does mean recognizing that fear of other predators isn't your only option. You can also respect them as fellow apex species who achieved success through their own paths. The predator within you knows some things instinctively. It knows how to assess threat. It knows when to fight and when to flee. It knows how to read body language and intention. It knows how to coordinate with others for collective defense or offense. These aren't conscious skills you learned recently. These are deep, ancient capabilities you carry genetically. Tonight, let yourself feel that predator confidence, not in aggressive or violent way, but in the simple knowledge that you're capable.
You're not helpless. You're not defenseless.
You're not prey that survives only through hiding. You're a member of the most successful hunting species Earth has ever seen.
That's not boasting.
That's biology. This recognition of your own capability allows for interesting psychological shift. When you know you're strong, you can afford to be gentle. When you know you're capable, you can afford to rest. When you know you're a predator in your own right, you can share territory with other predators without constant terror. Strength allows for relaxation in ways that perceived weakness doesn't. Your ancestors who succeeded weren't the most fearful or the most aggressive. They were those who accurately assessed both their own capabilities and the risks they faced, then made intelligent decisions based on that accurate assessment. They hunted when hunting was appropriate. They avoided when avoidance was wise. They rested when they had created sufficient safety. That same balance is yours to practice. You don't need to be constantly aggressive, proving your capability to everyone around you. That's insecure predator behavior, the behavior of animals who doubt their own status. Secure apex predators rest easily because they don't need to constantly prove themselves. Secure apex predators can be gentle because their capability isn't in question. The human predator didn't achieve dominance through size or speed or strength. Humans are relatively small, slow and weak compared to many animals. Humans achieve dominance through intelligence, cooperation, tool use, pattern recognition, communication, and adaptability. These are more sophisticated predator strategies than simple physical power. You carry all of those sophisticated capabilities. Your intelligence allows you to solve problems, anticipate challenges, learn from experience, teach others. Your cooperation allows you to achieve collectively what you couldn't manage alone. Your tool use extends your capabilities far beyond your physical body. Your pattern recognition lets you predict and prepare. Your communication allows coordination across distance and time. Your adaptability lets you thrive in changing circumstances. These aren't minor advantages. These are the capabilities that made humans the dominant large animal on Earth. You have access to all of them. Maybe not developed to their maximum potential, maybe not consciously trained to expert level, but present nonetheless. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from the pinnacle of predatory success. This recognition carries responsibility. The most dangerous predator on Earth has obligations that other predators don't face. Humans can drive species extinct. Humans can damage ecosystems irreparably. Humans can affect global climate. With great capability comes great responsibility for how that capability is used. Your ancestors who succeeded weren't those who destroyed everything around them. They were those who maintained sustainable relationships with their environment, who hunted without eliminating species, who used resources without exhausting them. They understood that predators depend on healthy ecosystems containing healthy prey. They practiced restraint even when they had capability for excess. You can practice similar wisdom. Your capability to achieve, acquire, consume, control, these carry responsibility for how they're exercised. The strongest predators can afford to show restraint. The most capable hunters can afford to protect rather than eliminate. Your power, whatever form it takes, serves you best when guided by wisdom rather than mere capability. As your body continues to settle toward deep sleep, as your breathing becomes barely noticeable in its slowness, as your consciousness begins to fade toward dreams, hold this knowledge: you are predator, not prey. You are capable, not helpless. You are strong, not weak. And from that position of strength, you can afford to rest completely. The predator within doesn't need to maintain constant vigilance because it knows it can respond effectively if needed. It doesn't need to prove itself constantly because its capability is established. It doesn't need to destroy threats preemptively because it can handle challenges as they arise. This confident capability allows for deep rest. You're the descendant of the most successful predators in Earth's history. Let that blessing wash over you like warm water, like the first sunlight of morning, like the most comfortable embrace you've ever received. Let it soak into the deepest parts of your consciousness, reaching places that words alone can't touch. Let it settle into your bones, into your nervous system, into the ancient parts of your brain that have been waiting to hear exactly this permission. You are safe.
Not maybe safe.
Not conditionally safe. Not safe if nothing goes wrong.
Actually safe.
The dangers that your ancestors faced, the predators that stalked them, the genuine threats that required constant vigilance, these are not your dangers tonight. You live in the safest moment in human history. You rest in conditions more secure than kings and queens enjoyed just centuries ago. You are protected. By walls and locks, yes. By modern security systems and infrastructure. But more deeply, you're protected by the accumulated wisdom of 15,000 generations who learned what works. You're protected by your own competence, your own awareness, your own capability. You're protected by your membership in communities and networks and systems larger than yourself. You are loved.
Maybe by specific people whose faces you can picture.
Maybe by the broader human family that you're part of, whether you feel it consciously or not. But certainly you're loved by the universe that created you, by the evolution that shaped you, by the ancestors who survived so you could exist. Your existence is wanted. Your presence is valued. Your being matters. You belong to this time and this place, to this moment in human history, to the long lineage of humans who learned to rest peacefully, to the ongoing story of human survival and thriving. You're not separate from it all. You're not isolated from the flow of life. You're woven into the fabric of existence itself, connected in ways both visible and invisible to everything that is. You are enough. You don't need to achieve more before deserving rest. You don't need to prove anything before being allowed to sleep. You don't need to earn the right to surrender to vulnerability. You're enough exactly as you are right now in this moment, with whatever you did or didn't accomplish today.
Enough to rest.
Enough to sleep. Enough to simply be. The ancient ones sitting around fires, 40,000 years ago preparing for sleep in caves while predators moved through the darkness outside. They knew these truths. They didn't have psychology or neuroscience or modern understanding of these concepts. But they knew in their bones, in their experience, in their accumulated wisdom, that humans need these assurances before they can truly rest. So they gave them to each other. The elder would speak blessing over the tribe. The parent would whisper protection over the child. The partners would reassure each other. The community would affirm together, we are safe, we are protected, we are together, we are enough. And in that affirmation, that blessing, that ancient ritual, they created the psychological conditions for deep rest. You receive that same blessing tonight.
Spoken across 40,000 years.
Transmitted through 2,000 generations. Refined by countless retellings around countless fires. Adapted to modern language but unchanged in essence. You are safe. You are protected. You are loved. You belong. You are enough. Rest now. Feel your eyes growing heavier if they're not already closed. Feel the pleasant weight of approaching sleep settling over you like the most comfortable blanket ever woven. Feel your consciousness beginning to drift, to float, to release its grip on waking awareness. This is right. This is natural. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now. The predators are in their territories, following their patterns. The ancient wisdom is working through you right now. The protection of 300,000 years of successful human rest surrounds you. The blessing of countless ancestors who learned to sleep in more dangerous conditions than yours covers you completely. Let yourself drift now. Let the stories begin to fade into dreams. Let the ancient landscapes merge with your own dream imagery. Let the predators become dream symbols carrying wisdom into your sleeping consciousness. Let it all blur together, waking and sleeping, ancient and modern, story and dream, past and present and future. You might see the fires in your dreams. You might walk with ancestors you never knew, but who live in your DNA. You might encounter predators that teach you something just for you, something personal and specific that these stories couldn't explicitly state. Let the dreams come. Let the processing happen. Let your sleeping mind do what it does so brilliantly. Integrate, consolidate, make connections, build understanding. The ancient blessing continues even as you sleep. The protection doesn't end when consciousness fades. The safety doesn't disappear when you stop monitoring it consciously. All of it continues, holding you, surrounding you, maintaining the conditions that allow your body and mind to do their essential restoration work. Breathe. Slowly, deeply, easily. Feel how your breath has found its slowest rhythm now. Feel how automatic it's become, requiring no thought, no effort, no management. Your body knows how to do this. Your body has always known. Trust it completely tonight. The stars that your ancestors saw 40,000 years ago are the same stars that exist tonight, though you might not see them through walls and roofs and city lights. But they're there, the same celestial patterns that guided ancient humans through their nights continue their eternal dance tonight. You're connected to that continuity, that ongoing flow of existence, that endless cycle of day and night, waking and sleeping, effort and rest. The ancient blessing says, you have done enough for today. You have carried the weight that was yours to carry. You have faced the challenges that presented themselves. You have made the choices that needed making. You have been who you needed to be.
And now you can release all of that.
Now you can let it go. Now you can rest in the ancient understanding that today is complete and tomorrow is not yet here. This moment, right now, this eternal present moment, contains everything you need: safety, protection, permission, blessing, connection to all who came before and all who will come after. You're exactly where you need to be. You're exactly who you need to be. You're doing exactly what serves you best. Rest. Simply rest. The journey we've taken tonight through predator territories, through ancient wisdom, through time measured in millennia and generations and individual lives, all of it comes to this simple conclusion: you can rest safely. The knowledge has been transmitted. The patterns have been established. The protections are in place. The blessing has been spoken. Now all that remains is the actual rest itself. So rest. Release your hold on consciousness. Stop trying to manage or control or maintain anything. Let your brain do what it evolved to do during sleep. Let your body perform its restoration work. Let your spirit drift in whatever dreams come. Trust the process completely. Trust the ancient wisdom that has guided humans through 300,000 years of nights. The predators taught their lessons. The ancestors passed their wisdom. The ancient fires burned their blessings into the human experience. And you tonight receive it all. Receive the teaching. Receive the wisdom. Receive the blessing. And most of all, receive the rest that your body and mind are requesting, that your well-being requires, that your ancient nature knows how to provide. Sleep now, protected by 300,000 years of human survival success. Sleep now, blessed by ancestors who learned to rest in genuine danger. Sleep now, surrounded by ancient wisdom that still works perfectly in modern circumstances. Sleep now, safe and protected and loved and belonging and enough, exactly as you are. The ancient blessing is complete. The permission is granted. The protection is established. The wisdom is transmitted. And you, ancient child of countless survivors, modern heir to accumulated knowledge, you can finally, completely, absolutely rest. Dream well. Dream of ancient fires and modern safety. Dream of predators that teach and ancestors that protect. Dream of tomorrow's possibilities built on tonight's restoration. Dream of anything or nothing at all. Just dream, just rest, just sleep. The ancient ones whisper across time one final blessing. Well done, child of our lineage. You've honored the wisdom. You've followed the patterns. You've created the safety. Now rest in the certainty that we did this correctly, that you're doing it correctly, that the chain remains unbroken.
Sleep now.
We'll watch over you as you once watched over us in the great circle of time.
Sleep now.
You are home. You are safe. You are loved. Sleep, and so you do. Tonight's stories, tonight's journey through predator relationships, tonight's exploration of ancient wisdom, all of this will continue to work in your mind even after your consciousness fades into sleep. This isn't metaphor. This is neuroscience combined with ancient human knowledge transmission patterns. Your brain doesn't stop working when you fall asleep. It enters different modes, certainly, but it continues processing, consolidating, integrating information you received while awake. The stories you've heard tonight about predators, about survival, about successful navigation of danger, these will be processed during your sleep. Connections will be made, patterns will be recognized, wisdom will be integrated. This is why ancient humans told stories at night around fires as people prepared for sleep. They understood something that modern neuroscience has confirmed. Information received just before sleep gets prioritized for processing. The last things your brain considers before sleeping are often the first things it works on during sleep cycles. Your ancestors weren't just entertaining themselves with stories. They were using the most effective timing for knowledge transmission. Tonight's exploration of predator relationships has given your brain specific information to process. How awareness creates safety, how respect enables coexistence, how ancient protocols remain effective, how understanding reduces fear, how capability allows for gentleness.
These aren't just interesting ideas.
These are practical frameworks for navigating your actual life. Tomorrow, you'll wake with this wisdom more deeply integrated than it is right now. You won't necessarily remember the specific stories. You might not consciously recall the details about each predator, but the underlying patterns, the core lessons, the fundamental understanding, these will be more available to you. This is how sleep learning works. This is why bedtime stories have been part of human culture for all of human history. The integration that happens during sleep isn't just intellectual. It's emotional and intuitive too. Your nervous system processes what it learned about when to be alert and when to relax. Your intuition integrates patterns about reading situations accurately. Your emotional regulation systems incorporate lessons about appropriate fear versus unhelpful panic. All of this happens without conscious effort on your part. You don't need to try to learn while sleeping. You don't need to review or memorize or drill. You simply need to allow your brain to do what it evolved to do: process during rest, integrate during sleep, consolidate during dreams. This is automatic, efficient, and remarkably effective. Your ancestors who listened to evening stories around fires woke the next day slightly changed,
Slightly wiser.
slightly more capable. The stories didn't just entertain. They transmitted survival information in formats that brains naturally process and remember. The stories encoded patterns that could save lives, protocols that could prevent tragedy, wisdom that could enable success. You're receiving the same transmission tonight, adapted for modern circumstances but fundamentally unchanged in purpose. These aren't just interesting stories about predators. These are pattern libraries about how to assess risk, how to respond to threat, how to maintain calm in dangerous situations, how to trust in preparation, how to recognize when rest is appropriate. Tomorrow, you might face challenges that benefit from tonight's wisdom. Maybe nothing as dramatic as encountering a predator, but challenges nonetheless. And your brain, having processed tonight's patterns, will have better framework for responding. Not because you consciously remember specific facts, but because the underlying patterns have been integrated into your intuitive assessment systems. This is how wisdom actually transfers across generations. Not primarily through explicit instruction or memorized facts, but through stories that encode patterns, through experiences that shape intuition, through the integration that happens when information meets rest and processing occurs outside conscious awareness. The dreams you might have tonight could incorporate elements of what you've heard. You might dream of ancient fires, of distant landscapes, of animals moving through darkness.
These dreams aren't random.
They're your brain's way of processing, of making connections, of integrating new patterns with existing knowledge.
Let the dreams come.
Let the processing happen. This is wisdom transmission in its most ancient form. When you wake tomorrow, you'll carry tonight's wisdom into tomorrow's challenges. Not obviously, not with fanfare, but quietly, steadily, as integrated knowledge that informs your responses without requiring conscious thought. This is how humans have always transferred survival knowledge. This is how the accumulated wisdom of 15,000 generations reaches you. The specific predators we explored tonight represent broader patterns. Sharks teach about respecting boundaries. Crocodiles teach about patience. Bears teach about seasonal rhythms. Wolves teach about cooperation. But more broadly, all of them together teach that danger can be navigated successfully through awareness. Respect, understanding, and appropriate response. Tomorrow, you'll apply these patterns to your own challenges.
Maybe not consciously.
Maybe not explicitly. But your brain will recognize parallel structures between ancient predator encounters and modern challenges. The underlying pattern recognition will serve you. The fundamental understanding will inform your choices. The accumulated wisdom will guide your responses. This is why tonight's journey matters beyond just being interesting. This is why the stories serve purposes beyond entertainment. This is why ancient humans put such emphasis on evening storytelling. They understood that the hours before sleep were prime time for wisdom transmission. They understood that sleep processing would integrate the patterns. They understood that waking would bring enhanced capability. You benefit from the same process tonight. The wisdom transmission that has served humans for all of human history is serving you right now. The pattern integration that made your ancestors successful is happening in your brain as you drift towards sleep. The learning consolidation that evolution refined over millions of years is working for you tonight. Trust this process. Trust that your brain knows how to do this. Trust that tomorrow you'll wake slightly changed, slightly enhanced, slightly more capable because of tonight's integration. This isn't wishful thinking. This is established neuroscience combined with ancient human wisdom about how learning actually works as your consciousness continues to fade, as the boundary between waking and sleeping becomes increasingly blurred, as your brain shifts into the processing modes that characterize sleep. Know that important work is beginning. Not work that requires your effort, not work that demands your attention. Just the natural processing that brains do when given the right material and the right conditions. Tomorrow's ancient wisdom is being forged tonight in the darkness of your sleeping mind. Tomorrow's enhanced capability is being built tonight through the processing you're allowing. Tomorrow's integrated understanding is being constructed tonight as you surrender to rest. This is how humans have always learned the deepest lessons. This is how wisdom has always been transmitted. This is happening right now. Let it happen.
Let the processing begin.
Let the integration occur. Let tomorrow's wisdom be built from tonight's stories, tonight's patterns, tonight's ancient knowledge reaching forward across time to serve your modern life. Trust the process. Trust your brain. Trust that tomorrow you'll wake carrying something you didn't have before, something subtle but real, something ancient but applicable. We've traveled far tonight, across continents and oceans, through time measured in thousands and hundreds of thousands of years, into the territories of apex predators, and through the wisdom of countless human generations. And now we arrive at this moment, right now, where all of that journey culminates in simple permission. Rest. Let yourself feel where you are. Feel the surface beneath you supporting your weight. Feel the temperature of the air on your exposed skin. Feel the gentle movement of your breath requiring no effort, continuing automatically. Feel the heaviness that has settled into your limbs, the pleasant weight of muscles finally released from the day's tensions. You're safe here. Genuinely safe in ways your ancestors could barely imagine. Protected by walls and locks and systems and distance from anything that might harm you. Safe in the most protected conditions humans have ever achieved. Let your body recognize this truth. Let your nervous system register this reality. You're safer than any human has ever been. The ancient fires still burn, though you might not see them. The ancient protections still hold, though they look different now. The ancient wisdom still works, though it's been adapted for modern circumstances. You're part of an unbroken chain of successful rest that stretches back to the first humans who ever closed their eyes in trust that they would wake again. Imagine for a moment that you can feel them around you, not literally, but as a presence. 15,000 generations of ancestors who learned to sleep in more dangerous circumstances than yours. They're whispering across time, "You're safe.
We made it through so you could be here.
Rest now in the protection we learned to create. Sleep in the wisdom we learned to trust." Can you feel that ancient permission? Can you sense the accumulated blessing of countless generations who survived so you could exist? You're not alone tonight. You're surrounded by the invisible presence of everyone who came before. Everyone who figured out how to rest despite real danger. Everyone who woke safely morning after morning to continue the lineage that eventually became you. The predators we've explored tonight continue their ancient patterns. Sharks patrol oceans following routes established millions of years ago. Crocodiles watch rivers from positions they've held for longer than mammals have existed. Bears sleep in winter dens, practicing hibernation refined across hundreds of thousands of years. Wolves travel in packs following social structures proven effective across countless generations. All of these patterns continue tonight. All of these ancient agreements still hold. All of these relationships between humans and predators still function based on wisdom accumulated over incomprehensible time. And you tonight rest in the continuation of patterns that have always worked. The ancient peoples who shared territory with these predators knew something essential. Fear is appropriate, but panic is unnecessary. Respect is required, but terror doesn't serve. Awareness enables survival, but obsession prevents living. They learned to hold these balances, to calibrate their responses, to be both careful and confident simultaneously. That same balanced awareness is yours tonight. You've been careful. You've taken appropriate precautions. You've followed reasonable protocols. And having done that, you can be confident. You can rest in the knowledge that you've done enough. You can trust that your preparations purchase safety. You can surrender to vulnerability because you've created the conditions that make vulnerability safe. Feel your breathing slowing even further. Notice how each exhale feels like releasing something you no longer need to carry. Each inhale feels like drawing in peace and ancient protection. The rhythm of your breath connects you to every ancestor who breathed this same pattern as they fell asleep. Connects you to every future descendant who will follow this same rhythm. Connects you to all of humanity resting together across time and space. The ancient blessing isn't spoken in words you'd recognize. It's not in any language still spoken today, but the meaning translates perfectly across all of time. You are safe. You are protected. You are loved.
You belong. You are enough.
Rest now in the certainty of these truths.